currently. Live
Hello, live.
from my daughter's bedroom. It's Saturday afternoon. I don't remember. It's been so long since I've watched Saturday Night Live. I don't remember what it's. Isn't it from live from New York? It's Saturday night, right?
Correct.
Okay, so live from my daughter's bedroom. It's Saturday afternoon.
Oh boy. All right, I'm ready.
Let's do the thing, man.
Let's do it.
All right.
Shut up and sit down.
Boom. What's up, everybody? How you doing?
Was that especially loud for you today? That was
No.
loud for me.
Was it?
Yeah, it was really loud for me today.
Well, maybe your ears are getting old there, man.
Either that or one of my settings got messed up.
That's right. Welcome to Dope and Dharma. This is the We the Middle edition of Dope and Dharma. It's on a Saturday edition, Trinity, instead of Friday.
Saturday.
Well, yesterday was a holiday.
It's Sábado Gigante is what it is, man.
Yeah, Saturday was a holiday for all white and black people trying to be Mexican like me.
You mean Friday?
Yeah, Friday was. That's what I mean.
Friday.
That's what I meant. Yeah, Friday.
Cinco de Mayo.
That's when all white and black people want to be Mexican like me.
It was a special day for me, though. My son's birthday. So.
Oh, that is a happy birthday to him.
Yeah.
You know,
he's 12 now. He's my youngest, and he's 12.
Dude, it's getting old.
Yes.
It's getting old.
Yes. You know what, though? He gets it because he told me the other day, he's like, I don't want to get older. I want to stay a kid for the rest of my life. I was like,
Amen.
Dude, that is the smartest thing you've ever said. Like 100%, buddy. You got it.
From although I was opposite. I'm a rare bird. I was like, whoa, I can't wait. Get the hell out of Dodge.
I kept wanting to get older until I got older. Then I'm like, oh man, it came with a lot of extra stuff that I wasn't thinking of.
I'm still liking it. The older I get, they go, oh, so this is what 50s are. Oh, right. Right. I'm getting closer to that FU age. You
almost got the FU money, so we're good.
I'm trying, man. I'm working at it.
It's easy when you're in the 1%, man. Everything feels great.
Sure. Oh, sure. Like, anyway, so this is the We the Middle edition of Dope and Dharma. And that means that, here's what that means. We are not Crips or Bloods. We are not gang affiliated to any party. We ride the line in the middle, like most of you, actually. All those, you guys may have.
Like 80% of America.
Yeah, 80% of America, we feel, is really in the middle, but you still wear your gang colors, red or blue. We just choose not to do that. We're both no party affiliation. So we talk about issues that we should talk about, but everybody's afraid to talk about them nowadays unless they're talking about it with people they agree with or unless they just want to fight. And we think we should be able to talk about current events. We should be able to talk about.
Wait, are you saying people issues. Like to fight? Is that what you're saying?
I think a little bit.
Wow,
a little bit,
I never thought of that.
I think more than they like to fight, I think they like to hate. I don't think they like to fight because I think when you fight them back, they kind of like don't like it. But they like to hate on people. And then they get punched in the mouth and they go, wait a minute,
this wasn't fun. I didn't sign up for this.
It's like, well, you kind of should have kept quiet then. But we think that we should be able to talk about political issues and still love each other. I mean, we should be able to be different, and that's okay. As a matter of fact, I think. I think that's why I always was left leaning growing up, because I felt like that always pushed conversation that wasn't allowed. The problem with that is if we're just being truthful about today's times, it's the left that's more stifling and telling you can't talk than the right now. So it's really an awkward time in life where the most loving human beings, I thought, and the most accepting and inclusive human beings, I thought, are the ones telling you that unless you believe how I believe, unless you say what I say, you are not allowed here, and you should not be allowed to live. And it's really weird. Don't you think that's a little odd?
Yeah, well, I think it's par for the course, the fact that typically when we're younger, we're left leaning, right? We're more liberal, we're growing, whatever. And as we get older, we typically start to veer more towards conservatism. But it's weird because, and both sides do it right now, in the sense of the overarching problem, I think, is this weird tribalism to where if you announce one thing, then I automatically assume all these other things are also true. Right? Like if you were to say, hey, maybe the vaccines weren't the best idea the way they were currently implemented. Well, then that means now that I'm a Trumper and then I'm like all these other things as opposed to what I just said, right? Like that's
what you're saying.
so it's this weird tribalism to where it's like, if somebody says, "Hey, I'm a liberal," then automatically you just assume, "Oh, well, you believe in all these other things." No, this particular topic I lean that way on.
Brother, you can't even be proud to have an American flag right now without people calling you a MAGA Republican.
Yeah, it's
an American flag. We're in a time where and I have American flags at my house. I got one in the front yard and one in the back. And we're in a time where people view the American flag as you must be a MAGA Republican. As if, and then let's take that word, MAGA. Make America great again. Yeah, that's bad. Yeah. That's
what I'm saying. It's like that you just
even that sentence alone has turned to a bad. Why? How is that a bad word?
I don't know. Like I said, man, it's this weird tribalism.
It is really just an awkward time.
Yeah, if you say one thing that just so happens to be, which everything is included, but one thing that's included with some sort of ideology, then you subscribe 100% to that. It's like, no, dude, like. Do it like MAGA, for instance. There's a lot of stuff that MAGA people say that I think, oh, you know what? That's actually a good point. But there's a lot of stuff that I'm like, whoa, that is way too far, bro. You need to reel that in, right? And same thing with the liberal side, right? There's a lot of stuff that liberals say, I'm like, yeah, that's freaking a great idea. We should absolutely do that. Well, and then there's other things that's like, you need to reel that in, bro.
Well, the whole, when Obama had the change, it's the same. That was a MAGA concept, and Biden's approach to a lot of things is a MAGA concept. I mean, when you listen to him talk, he's talking, let's bring business back to America. Let's do it. He's saying MAGA stuff.
Well, like you said, like you pointed out 100 times, man, the thing that I still can't wrap my head around is somehow they turned a New York elitist billionaire into like a redneck. Right. I don't know how that happened. At no point in my entire life, and I've seen Trump since I was like born in the 80s, man. He's been all over the news. His name has been everywhere. Like, if you didn't know Trump and you were born anywhere from 1980 on, like you've been living under a rock. I don't understand how you didn't know his name in one aspect or another. Like I know him through the NFL stuff where he had all that problem. I knew him with the Christy Brinkley stuff. I knew him with the Miss America stuff, and then it went to Apprentice, and of course, real estate was always underlying it. So he's been around. I feel like I'm relatively well versed on who he is. I've seen him so long, and I've always viewed him as that elitist. I mean, he has golden toilets, bro. Like he's this elitist, New York billionaire living in these skyscrapers, flying helicopters. Right, the furthest away from a redneck that you can get. Yeah, yet somehow he's this dirty redneck. It's like
they made him into a redneck. I don't know how they convinced the whole country that he's a redneck.
Yeah, it's weird.
And by the way, for all you rednecks out there, I love you rednecks. I mean,
my family's redneck.
You don't have to like the color of my skin or like my family, like my music, like my culture, or anything like. I like a lot of what you do. In other words, when I think redneck, I don't think all that racist. All right, whatever. We all got our biases, and if you don't inside you and in your family, that's on you. You're lying. But what I like is the fact that they get like dirty like that. They'll stick their hands in a mud hole to pull out a catfish, bro. Yeah. They will take a perfectly good vehicle and trick it out, like outrageously trick it out. And instead of like the kind of preppy kind of person that tricks it out and like just drives around a regular street, they trick it out and run it through some mud. They don't trick it out for looks. They trick it out for like to use it.
Right.
And I grew up loving motocross, riding a motorcycle. So like that's muddy, dirty. That's, racing cars. I mean, anything like that you think guyish, that's what they do. They do guy stuff. You know what I mean? They play with loud things. They create loud things. They play with tools. I mean, what's not to love, man? There's one part that we don't like about it, and then we just destroy everything they are. Oh, we don't like they're racist. Okay, one aspect of what they are doesn't define
But it's
them.
not even all of them. Like it's one
It's
aspect
not.
of certain
It's not. But
individuals within that.
and it's about exposure because I'm telling you, my history, my experience has been once they're exposed to somebody that's different, they're very accepting, and they may ask weird things at first, but then they embrace you. They bring you in. It's just they were never exposed to you.
Yeah.
In a positive way. And so when they're exposed to some of us in a very negative way, I don't blame you for having a negative opinion of a group if the only way you've been exposed to a group has been in a negative way. Right? And I'm not even trying to defend them. I don't even know how we got here, but
no, but I have something completely unrelated, but I don't want to derail this. But it was an interesting, I had a really interesting experience yesterday, as a matter of fact. And it kind of
like you wait, Marissa, before you say that. Like Marissa.
She says, I define as a redneck now. I guess I love Mexican American nice.
Yes.
So we had an experience.
And we love you.
Okay. Yesterday morning that like literally I got to watch the both polar opposite sides of what America has devolved into lately.
Okay.
It was weird because like I was watching it happen in slow motion. It was one of those weird moments where I understood exactly what I was watching, right? Like I knew I was like, damn, this is like the exact opposite of America right now.
Okay.
So yesterday, and I don't want to derail as I apologize, but I think it's a good story. So yesterday morning, it's my son's birthday, and he had to go to school. So we woke up and the whole family decided to get up, and yes, that means Angel woke up like early. She didn't sleep till 2-3 o'clock. So she committed the night before. She got up. We all took them to school. And the purpose was to stop by Dunkin' Donuts and get them like a donut for their breakfast on the way to school. Right. Something that Dad does not ordinarily do. Dad is ordinarily like, let's get up, let's go to school. See you guys later. Have a good day. So we got up, went to Dunkin' Donuts. We pulled into the parking lot. And my wife was like, oh gosh, like upset. I'm like, what's going on? Well, Dad likes to keep the car kind of cool. So sometimes she'll bring a blanket with her. And she loves her blankets. Well, we pulled in, and right outside of the Dunkin' Donuts, now mind you, this is like 7 o'clock in the morning, there's a homeless man sleeping on the sidewalk, like, right by the front window type of thing. And she saw him, and she immediately got like disappointed, I guess, because she knew that I'm going to have to give him my blanket because that's who I married. So we get out of the car. And sure enough, she walks up, she taps the guy, she's, excuse me, you look cold, and she gives him a blanket. He immediately, is appreciative. It doesn't really say much because I think she woke him up out of his dead sleep. But so she put the blanket on, or he put the blanket on, got all snuggled up, whatever. We went inside. Well, as we're inside, I can look out the window. He's literally right there on the ground, like right outside the window. So we're getting our donuts and whatnot. And I see a guy pull up, looks like a construction truck or something. He pulls up, parks, where the guy's at, kind of a thing, in the parking lot across of it. He doesn't park in a space. He kind of like halfway does it. And I'm like, well, that's kind of a jerk way to park. He gets out. He walks straight up to the homeless dude and tells him to leave. And I look at his shirt. He's got a Dunkin' Donuts shirt. So I'm going to assume, I didn't speak to the guy. I'm just assuming that he's probably the franchise owner or something like that. And maybe somebody complained. Maybe he was just driving by and saw it. And he basically went up and told the guy, you can't be here. You got to go. So the guy gets up out of his dead sleep with a little blanket and goes. And then when we walked outside, my wife saw that and gave him, I think, like a donut and some money to go in and get a donut if you wanted to. So that way, he couldn't get kicked out. But for me, I just literally got to see both sides of what. So on one side is a very compassionate, loving, a fellow human being is in need. And it's like, look, I have this, I don't really need it. I'm going to go home. Here's something that I have that will make your day better. Very compassionate, very loving, very caring. And then on the flip side of that, the other, I'm not going to say cold, but to the outside perspective, it's cold in the sense of this guy didn't appear to have any, emotion or humanity towards a fellow human who's obviously in a bad spot right now. And then you told him to leave, basically, yeah, I'm sorry for you, but go be somewhere else. Right. Now, once again, that's not to say I don't understand, right? I get it. If he's trying to feed, if he is the franchise owner, he's trying to feed his family as well. And if you got a place of business and there's a bunch of homeless people there, they oftentimes bring, an element of danger for some people, or, they're not the cleanest of individuals. And so your patrons might look at that and say, you know what, I don't feel safe or I don't feel comfortable. I'm not going to go there. And if they don't go there, then you can't afford to feed your family. And you have the American dream. You open up a Dunkin' Donuts. You're your own business owner and stuff, and you can't do it. You can't feed your family because nobody wants to come to your store because there's home. So I get why he was doing it, but it just for me, it was just like, wow. What a weird, like on one hand, you had like love, compassion. So that guy that was sleeping there, he got to experience both sides of what humans have to offer. One person came and gave him a warm blanket and some food. The other person told him to get out of here, don't come back. So it was a very interesting experience yesterday morning. So,
well, I mean, okay, and I get it, and that's a little hard.
Both sides.
Well, the difficult part is that Dunkin' Donuts guy can't go to the homeless shelter and sell his donuts from that place. Like, he's not allowed to set up shop outside of a homeless shelter and just start selling donuts. They would say, no, you're selling those illegally here. You have to go somewhere else. In other words, they would kick him out if he would post up anywhere where he doesn't have a permit, doesn't have a license, doesn't have the so it's not just towards homeless people, it's towards anyone who's violating a certain space that they don't have permission to be in. And as compassionate as we all want to be, and I do believe most of us want to be compassionate, but if we were honest with ourselves, we really don't want it at our home.
Well,
right?
And
we don't want it where we buy our food and where we spend time. And that's almost why some people maybe like Angel. I'm not saying that's why Angel would do it, but a lot of us, because I do the same thing. There's right outside my Dunkin' Donuts, there's always this one couple, and so I'll get like extra minis or something like that, and always just give it to them.
Right.
I won't give money, but I'll give food. But it's almost like we give for that same reason. So like, I feel better just that you're here because you make me uncomfortable. You make me uncomfortable, which is why I'm giving it to you.
Right.
So the person giving is also feeling just as uncomfortable as the person saying leave.
Right.
It's just the way one person deals with feeling uncomfortable is by giving, and the way another person deals with their feeling uncomfortable is by ignoring it or wanting it to go away. Right. It's the same way with any emotion. We all deal with emotions differently. It doesn't mean that we don't experience the same emotion. We just have a different way we express it. And so, and I think that's the real issue. Nobody wants to see it. No. The business owner doesn't want to see it. The patrons don't want to see it, and your wife doesn't want to see it.
No.
And all of us know that there is a place where that's acceptable because we all pay for that. We all pay towards the homeless shelters that exist. We all pay towards the public services that do exist, but some people just don't choose to access that stuff, and we do have the freedom to not have to access it. I'm not saying that they have to access it, but then we don't really want it infringing upon our schools, the places we want to hang out, the parks that we want to play in, our homes. I'm definitely, if a homeless person, I don't think your wife would be as empathetic if the guy was sleeping on your front yard.
She says that she would be because I said that because it did lead to a conversation about us talking about it. And I said, look, I got to be honest. I wouldn't if I came home and there was like 2 or 3 homeless people sleeping in my front yard. I feel bad for them that they're homeless, but at the same token, I'd have a problem with that because I got kids, everything else, and like I don't want that element in my front yard. Like I don't trust you. I don't know what you're about. One could deduct from your situation that you might not make the best decisions in life, right? Like you can, I'm sure there's anecdotal evidence of people who were just literally victims of whatever, but I think the vast majority of people are there usually from decisions that were made, right? Like, so you made some decisions that weren't the greatest. That's why you're here. So I don't know if I want somebody who's been proven to make not so good decisions that are detrimental to them interacting with my kids every day as they walk out of the door. Like, I'm just not cool with that.
They can carry the same blood that you have in your body, and when they make poor decisions, we ask them to leave. They may, if they become individuals that are partaking in things we don't want them to partake in, do we not ask them to leave? Own family members, right? Like there's a lot of us that would, I would let them. No, you don't. I'm sure there's people that wouldn't allow it. And the people that would is the people that have like 50 cats. Those are the only people that I believe.
That would be my wife, though. So I think she might have actually let it because she would pick up every animal that she could.
But if she could, she wouldn't be with you. If she was 100% like that, she wouldn't be with you.
Sure.
She wouldn't be able to deal with how you feel about it. You know what I
Right.
mean? She would have to have the 50 cats. You know,
Well,
and then she would live next door to my wife with the 50 dogs.
yeah, this is a good segue, right? So these
Right.
are out of order, but this is a
Okay.
good segue.
Okay.
So one of our topics was the border, right?
Right.
Because Title 42
Right.
on May 11th is going to expire unless it's
Right.
renewed or whatever they're going to try to do with it.
Yeah.
And part of what's going on is for those of you who aren't aware, I guess, is many people are leaving their countries for various reasons and trying to get into America. And one of the things that I find interesting is what Biden is trying to do. He's currently, I think he's doing it. He's trying to do more of. So Trump instituted this thing where you couldn't ask for asylum here
Right.
if you didn't first apply for asylum in the countries that you went through to get here. And Trump got a lot of crap for that, saying it was this, that, and the other, immoral. What I don't remember all the list of things he was ridiculed for. But Biden's kind of doing the same thing. If you look at the pictures on the border, there's these like tent cities and stuff. They're identical to the ones that were there for Trump. Like they're doing them like so. It's interesting to me, the border talk, and I know you want to talk about the military to the border, and we're going to get to that. But what I think is interesting about the border is we can't seem to be honest about it. Like you said, in the scenario with the homeless person, like we're not honest. Like, yes, I think all of us feel for the plight of the individual who's struggling and wants a better life. Like we all feel for that. But at the same token, we have to balance it out with some honesty. Like we can't just let every human being on the planet with various intentions to come in here and do whatever. Like, because it is kind of our home, right? Like we can't just open them for everybody. And so there has to be a realistic debate there. But you have one side saying let everybody come in, and you have the other side saying, essentially what's viewed as don't let anybody in. Although I don't hear them saying that. I hear them saying let them in, but there's got to be steps and processes that need to be followed. Like that's what I hear.
Right.
Maybe you hear differently, but the other side is absolutely saying let everybody in. Like they're saying just come on in. So I think for me the border situation, I don't have a dog in the fight. I'm American. I was born here. So like, I'm not at risk at being deported. I don't have family in other countries who want to come in. Like I don't have that to relate to. So my perspective is one is that was born here with the privilege of being a citizen.
Right.
And yeah, I think it's a great country. I mean, we have problems like everybody else, but I think it's a great country, and I understand the desire to come here. But I also think I've seen the other side of things too. I've seen the crime that can happen. I like as a criminal, the number one thing you want is anonymity, right? Like, so coming in from a border, like, I can see why criminals would want to come here illegally and not have anybody know that they're here. Like, I get it.
Right.
So that needs to be addressed. But I also don't think like one thing, and maybe you could address this. I'm gonna turn it to you here in a second because you have much more to say about it. But the idea of seeking asylum in other countries, I don't know why that's such a bad thing. If you're wanting asylum, meaning you're leaving your current country because it's so bad and you're so at risk that you're going to travel all these thousands of miles to get to us, but you pass through like 3 or 4 different countries. And what was wrong with all that? Like either one of those countries are out of your current situation, right? Like I don't get the logic there. And then I also don't understand why us? Right? Like if my neighbor from 4 doors down the streets can't afford to pay for his meds, nobody's yelling at me like it's my fault that he can't afford his meds. They say they blame big pharma, they blame the doctors, they blame the government, they blame all these other things. They don't blame me. So if I'm just going to pick a country, if you're from this country, I apologize. I'm just picking a country. If you're from like Honduras, why is it America's job to help you? Like we didn't like. Why isn't it Honduras' job? Like why isn't your government? Why aren't you guys revolting against your government, saying, "Hey, do better"? Why is it ours? And why do you have to go through 3 or 4 countries to get to us? And it wasn't any of those countries' fault, but it's ours. Like it's just, I don't know. It's never set right with me. But like I said, I don't really have much of a dog, so my opinions on this are relatively limited by my own experience. So I'll let you take the floor here.
No, I think that last point you made is pretty funny because I'm thinking about Americans that would complain about this country until they get in trouble and get locked up in one of those other countries, and all of a sudden it's very American.
Yeah,
all of a sudden it's America. Save me.
Yeah.
I'm a U.S. citizen. All of a sudden,
it's
like, oh, I thought you didn't like this country.
Yeah.
I love this country. I'm first generation, so it's I do have a dog in this fight. And with this issue, this is where, on many issues, I may sound a lot more crippish than bloodish, and a lot of times, except when I see what's really happening. What's really happening is that we have a very difficult system of entering this country, right? It's difficult for just think about just filing taxes. Let's take something simple.
Yeah,
I say simple because we have the 1040 easy form for some of you, right? Only when it gets to the way I have to do my taxes, it's a hell of a lot more complicated than a 1040 easy form. It gets complicated.
right.
Now think about when you buy a house, how many forms you sign. When you buy a car, when you buy anything, think about all the forms that you sign. Now put yourself at a third grade education because you come from a farm that didn't have access to schools and you had to work in order to make money because you come from a very impoverished area, which is really nobody's fault other than, generations of, poor people not becoming anything other than poor, and systems that just really don't allow those families to really make it where they're at. The class system is the class system is the class system. It's always been that way. I know many of you like to believe that America is the only one that puts down the poor. No. Every rich in every country wants to stay rich. Once you have money, you don't want to give it up.
Exactly.
And by the way, you poor people, once you make money, you do the same thing, because then you become there's always new rich, and they don't give up their money. There's always new rich, right? How many athletes have become multimillionaires? They're not giving up all their money. No. When they do, we call them crazy. Like when they become poor again, it's like, what'd you do with all your money? Well, yeah, it's all that entourage they had.
Yeah, they all had their hands up.
Yeah. So when I look at the system, I'm looking at the people two different ways. Ones that were born here, the dreamers. I want the dreamers to be able to stay here. They were born here. They don't come from these other countries. It's not their fault, however they got here or whatever their parents did. But they've been in our American schools. They've been living the American dream. They cannot survive there the way you think they can. And if you want to put it in animal terms without being offensive, and I'm not trying to be offensive, but it's like when you raise an animal in your home, and then you try to put it in the wild, you put it at risk. What? I'm not trying to say
you just call all Mexicans animals, man. Is that what I heard?
Hermano, don't even try that, hermano. Don't try to get me with my own people. What I'm saying is, nope. What I'm saying is, I'm trying to give you a scenario so you can. It's almost like taking a house cat. You clip the claws, and then you let them outside. Now they can't defend themselves. So what I'm saying is, once you go back to your home countries, even when I go back, they hear the different accent. They know you're from the United States. There's a jealousy.
You're gringo now.
Yeah, there's a difference between those of us that live here and the difference that live there, even if it's just a short amount of time. You become Americanized in a very short amount of time. And it's hard to go back to any home country and be as at home as you once were. You will always now be that part American, and whatever that means to somebody. So that puts you in a situation that could be volatile or problematic. Just no different than when I was being raised here, and they knew that I wasn't fully one of them, and they were like, "What are you?" And I would have to admit that I'm a Latino, and my house smelled different, or food was different. My parents had accents. They come from another country. Just like there's issues there, there's issues there. Now, here's what I propose, that we have a trade system, just like we do with goods. We bring goods from those countries. We should be able to send goods to those countries, which we do. For those of us that are unhappy in this country, I feel that we should have a trade system. Which country would you like to go to? Maybe we'll send you and bring two of them here. So that way, you can feel comfortable with this scenario. You go live there for a year. We'll have them come live here for a year. Almost like wife swap. Let's do country swap. Let's trade spots for about a year. And should both parties agree to stay in the country that they now live in for a year, then great. If you guys choose to change your minds, then we'll discuss it then. If we have a system like that, a trial period, not permanent, just a trial period.
Don't we have something similar, like foreign exchange students? Like, isn't that kind of, I mean,
yeah, but I think we should do foreign exchange adults, not foreign exchange students. Foreign exchange bitterness. If you're bitter at the country you live in, like, because that's what they're dealing with, right? If they're in that, see, a Honduran and a Mexican does not hate Mexico. A Honduran does not hate Honduras. An angry American sometimes does hate America. Right. That's the difference. They don't hate their country. They understand it's the system in which they live. Because when they come here, they're still flying a Honduran flag. They're still flying a Mexican flag. They're still flying but we, the angry of the we that are angry here, don't go there and want to fly the American flag until they get in trouble. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So it's a big difference of understanding. So if you want to fix the problem, you first have to understand what's truly happening. What's truly happening is that they're not inventing that they can't progress. They're not inventing that they can't seem to claw their way out of poverty, that they will be there for generations in the exact same scenario unless one of them leave and bring back that opportunity, which has happened, and they saw it happen. Here, it's different. There's not many here that have seen people go to Mexico or Honduras or El Salvador or anything like that, and all of a sudden go, hey, man, it's so good. I am making a mint now. You should all come here. It doesn't happen that way. So you have to accept your privilege. And I'm talking to all of you that think that you don't have the privilege. Every single person with an American passport. Wait a minute. What am I saying? Some of you don't even have driver's license. Every single one of you that qualify for an American passport or driver's license, just for some reason don't have one, you are privileged. Every single one of you that has a Social Security number, you're privileged. So I can't just point at you as a white person and say you're privileged. No, every single one of you in the American system are privileged, and just understand that. But that doesn't mean you allow them to come in your country. And look, one thing that was really hard when I had a business in the Apopka area here in Orlando, I had a business in the Apopka area, and I had a lot of Mexican workers, right? And they were undocumented, right? They had the little fake Social Security cards, I'm sure. And when they would get their paycheck, they had to cash their check at the fish market. Unfortunately, the fish markets that cash these kind of checks are typically in not so good areas. And the hardest thing to watch was they would be attacked and robbed by American poor people, by our system of people that say they can't make it. We're robbing this system of people that were definitely working to try to make it, but they knew that they can't call the cops.
Yeah.
They couldn't go get help.
Dude, it's even worse than
their
that.
money's not insured. They couldn't have a bank account. And so they're constantly attacked, but they have to live side by side with our poor. And our poor has a different way of dealing with them, and they know that they can't call the cops. They can't do anything about it. And that frustrates me. So I think that's where our system really needs to get some help and needs to change. It needs to protect. If we're going to let them in, then we better protect them, because we're setting them up to just be eaten by our worst of our worst.
Well, they're eaten by everybody, right? Because there's another side to that coin too that I don't know if a lot of people are aware of, but even the quote unquote better places,
right?
Meaning these large companies that employ them, and they give them, and they create these like little towns for them to live in, like they put trailers and stuff. Yeah, what a lot of people don't realize is they'll pay you like $800 a month, let's say, but they're going to charge you like $450 rent to live in this little trailer park town that they set up for you. So I'm going to give you $800, which sounds like a decent amount of money, but you're going to give me $400 of that back for the right to live in this crappy trailer with no plumbing and just trash everywhere. I'm going to charge you to live there. And out of that $400, you got to live and send whatever back to your family. So even the good places really aren't that good for them. They get treated terribly.
Oh, let me add to that, Trinity. And then they put a store. Then they put a store and sell all the goods that their individuals. And so they get some of that leftover $400. They get some of that back. Yeah. Then they create a system where you could send money back to your home country, but we're going to charge you for sending that money. So now we're going to get a piece of your money for you to eat, for you to drink, for you to survive. And then the money you send back, which is large part, a lot of times it's like 80%.
Yeah.
80% of what's left over out of all their bills they send back. And then they get a percentage of that money. Oh, man. And then when they're done with you, and if they ever want to be done with you, if they ever have issue with you, guess what? They call immigration on their own people, clean them out, bring the new people in. As soon as you get Americanized, or you get too wise to the system, or you get upset with the system, or you create problems in the system, they just send you back. Now, it's a horrible system.
Very.
And even with all of that, Even with all of that, you're going to go live in a neighborhood where you're going to be eaten by the worst of America.
Right.
They're going to rob you because they know you can't do anything about it. You're going to go into a system that you got to hide. You got to hide. You can't be known. There's going to be a lot of people that don't like you, don't want to be around you, right? You're going to be living in a housing where instead of just like 2 to 3 in a home, it's going to have to be like 10 or 15 of you in a home, right? You're going to go live in a system where you work like dogs. You work harder than everybody else, and you get paid the least of anybody else, right? And yet with all of that knowledge, because they know that, Trinity, they still know that is better than where I'm at.
Sure.
That is better than where I'm at. And so that is the sadness that I carry. And that is why I think we need to improve our system. And that's why I don't want the dreamers to go back. Let them stay here. Let them have all the same opportunities, because this is open to everybody. That is the American way, to be open to everybody. However, you cannot have committed a felony in another country and come here, just like we can't commit felonies here and go there. That system exists every country.
Right.
And if you don't believe me, try, for all those of you with a DUI, try to go to Canada, even just to visit with your DUI and see what happens.
Really? I didn't know.
Yeah, there's rules. There's rules in other countries where even just what we consider small violations, not to them.
Right.
To them, they're like, we don't want you. As loving as Canada is, try going with your felony. Try going with some of your misdemeanors. Just try it. See what happens to you. It's not as nice as you think it is.
Right.
Okay. And it's not as great as you think it is. And as far as like the Crips saying that the Bloods use immigrants as pawns and tools, like when DeSantis and the Texas governor started sending them to other places. No, that's called, look, I've heard the argument many times. We have so much land. We have so much of it. Why don't we share some of it? Okay. But if you're not receiving federal income, you're not receiving federal money to do that, you can't just leave them all in one place. That's not fair to them either. So to move them around the country is the most fair way to do it. If that's going to wake you up and say, okay, well, there's a lot of room in Montana. Let's take a few thousand. There's a lot of room in New York. Let's take a few thousand. All right, then let's spread them out. Because now all of a sudden, what do you have? You have these other states saying, hey, we need federal money. Well, isn't that what Texas and Florida was saying? Wasn't Texas and Florida saying, hey, we need federal help, and the feds didn't want to help? So why should border states deal with all of the problem? And so that's just stupid for anybody to think that the border states are the only ones that should deal with this problem. I come from a border city, El Paso, Texas, Juarez, Mexico. Our family's on both sides of the border. So we live with that, and we have a fence. We have all that stuff. It's just cut all the time. They would have built a wall, but apparently a fence was cheaper. So when I hear even El Pasoans talk about, oh yeah, Trump is a racist and he's talking about a wall, brother, we grew up with a fence. You guys all grew up with it. We knew how to get around it. We would all go pick up our maids and our stuff. We took advantage of their labor. We all had who was building our rock walls? A lot of illegals. Who was our maids? A lot of illegals that we'd go pick up downtown. We did the same thing. What are we talking about? Stop being so ridiculous. I hate when I hear and see people of my own culture even know that those of us that have utilized the services of the have-nots. We do it ourselves.
Sure.
Right? And we're okay with it. We just don't like outsiders to do it. Oh, I get it. I get it. But we've done it ourselves for generations. That's why those families for generations are poor, and that's why they are like forever poor unless they come here and do some of the things that other people can do. Now, some of the issues with immigration from other countries, though, Trinity, like India, China, some Muslim countries, the European countries, the people that tend to be able to get here, have money from where they're at. They tend to be from the families of wealth or families that have. Why? Because that's harder to get here. It's cost, it's different cost factor to come. And they're coming for different reasons. They're coming because they know our school systems are great. They know that if they can own businesses here in those little communities, their pocket communities, and make an outrageous amount of money compared to what they can make over there. Whereas the connecting countries, you don't have to have a lot of money to walk miles and 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 miles, And so, it's just a really tough system. Now, this thing with Biden, let's talk about this sending the troops. I'm a little concerned about that, and I'll tell you why. First of all, if the Bloods even talked about sending troops, what did the Crips say?
Oh, that it's like, like martial law or something like that. It's racist. How are you doing that? They're humans. They're people. They
Right.
don't deserve to have the military called on them.
Right. Brother, if the Crips put the troops there, here's my concern. You are setting these troops up for failure. You are setting these young men and women that are in our armed forces up to be ridiculed, up to be hated, because you are not going to support them. You're going to send them there to do a job, but you better be very, 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 very clear on the rules of engagement. Because if you're not 100% clear on the training and the rules of engagement, you are setting up these military men and women up for failure, because as soon as they do the job that you're sending them to do, and you don't, and you have constituency that gets mad about the way they do it, they're going to have a video of one military person doing it just a little bit too harsh because they're a military person with very big, strong weapons and very big, strong training. And you're going to see them on video, and you're going to castrate them, and you're going to put them out in the media as if they're the Gestapo, and they're going to be hated upon and lose their career. That is my concern for these military men and women that are going to get sent to the border. They are not going to be supported by the hierarchy that is demanding that they go there for, and I'm concerned about that.
Yeah, I can see that. All right, next one.
Wait, are you? So you have no comment on that other than I can see that?
No, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's because we already had that situation happen on a lesser extent with the guy with the whip, and he was on his horse, and it was a video that came out, and he was the most racist person on the planet until they found out that no, he actually wasn't doing what everybody thought that he was doing. He was doing something else. But for that week, he was basically public enemy number one, and all he was doing was his job. So yeah, like I see it. Anytime you bring in a military mindset, like military is not known for being compassionate and loving and caring, right? That's not what we pay them for. That's not what we train them for.
Right.
We train them to go in, attack, take over, or defend. So you take, it's like trying to solve every problem with a hammer. Well, if the only thing you have is a hammer, then every problem looks like a nail. And so, like, that's what they're going to try to do. They're like a blunt force instrument. That's not what you bring them in there. Yes, it's a recipe for this could go very bad very quickly.
Right. Well, there's a reason that not everybody's a social worker, right?
Yeah.
We need social workers, but don't try to make every occupation a social worker. Not every occupation. Like, do you really need your bus drivers to be social workers? Do you really need your truck drivers to be social workers? Your construction workers to be social workers? You definitely don't want your military as social workers, because that puts them in danger. They cannot be social. We cannot train them to be social workers.
Put the gun down. Let's talk about how you feel.
If you have a job where you have to carry a gun, guess what? That you're not a social worker.
No,
that is not that is you have that weapon for a reason, and you're going to be the first target. So it's just one of those things that just gets really frustrating.
Sure.
Is to be able to use them as a response. And as far as like the Bloods putting the message out there that the border's open, the border's not open. It's not open. It's just that we're struggling with understanding how to allow you in this country legitimately. Like, just go solve the problem. Stop fighting that the border's open. The border's open. Just put together an agreement. You guys both know what each other thinks. Put together a freaking agreement that you could both agree on and stick to it. You guys should be unified in this, because both of you are using these people as pawns. Both sides. Both sides are harming the most poorest and the most vulnerable of the world. I know some of you think you're victims, and I know some of you think that you're part of the most vulnerable. No, you're not. No, you're not. No, that, my friend, that group is the lowest, and they come from the number one minority in this country that gets little to no attention, and yet there's more of us in this country than any other minority group, and get little to no attention. So just everybody, both sides, keep fighting. You white people, you black people, keep fighting with each other. As our numbers continue to grow, we are and will be the majority in this country, and then maybe we can fix the system that for some reason you two can't figure out. Does that sound hateful? It's not hateful. It's just that while we're still fighting about the 1860s, we're fighting about before that. The 1400s, the 1200s, the 1100s, the thousands. Remember, Spanish people have constantly gone to other countries and took it over completely. I mean, we have more countries than any other race and culture. right? There's more Spanish-speaking countries than other. So we are not the kind of people that go into a place and don't stay. Right?
Yeah,
We go to places, and not only do we stay, we populate.
yeah.
And what is the major language in all those other countries? They're all Latinos. They're all Spanish speaking. So you just go ahead and keep we will come. Don't think we won't. Now we can come friendly, which is the way we want to come. We want to come and we want to work hard. We want to legitimately earn our money, make our money. We want to be here nicely. That's the way we need to come, and that's the way we need to stay, and that's the way we should be invited and accepted to stay. But if you want to do this another way, don't get it twisted. Look at history. Don't get it twisted. Read your history. Look at your history. It can be done differently, and we're very fortunate that it's not being done differently. Because don't think that there's not the very, very, very wealthy people in each one of those Latino countries that have a lot of guns too, and they have a lot of power too, and could be doing things a lot worse, and they're not. What our number one crime is not from the Latino population in the United States. Okay, yet the Latino population is known to have a lot of weapons in this country, is known to do a lot of the drug game in this country. Yes, we do a lot of criminal activity in this country. Yes, and yet still, it's very targeted. When there's crime, it's very targeted to each other. More Latinos kill Latinos than anybody else. You guys aren't killing us. Latinos kill Latinos. Latinos hurt Latinos more than anybody else. Anyway.
Yeah. The last
that's no different than any other minority group. At least, but at least we're honest about it.
The last comment I guess I would say is just, it feels to me like another situation though of the CEO making decisions for the employees on the front lines and not understanding how the day-to-day works. Like, I think that the border is open. Like, I don't think that the people in Congress who are making some of these decisions truly understand what's happening on the border day to day.
I know.
Like,
sad.
I don't think, because I hear so many things said publicly from, the leaders, but then I watch the news stories. I watch the postings on social media. I watch the videos and stuff of what's actually happening, right? Like, there was one, I don't remember who did it, but it was like a posting of like everything that the politicians said. There was video contradicting it right next to it, right? Like, oh, we don't have people coming over with drugs and stuff. And then it showed a rancher whose backyard has been destroyed and trampled because there's just herds of people bringing illegal drugs into the country. So that is happening. Or, hey, the other one saying that the country, the borders are wide open, everybody's coming in, and it shows people being arrested and things. So, like, no, man, like, the people who are making all these statements, you're not actually on the street. Like, you don't really know. And I think that's the problem with the solution is a lot of the people trying to solve this issue are so far removed from it that they don't have a reliable way to solve it.
No, they're busy fighting crip and blood battles. Yeah. And Latinos are the ones getting the shaft the whole time. And that's a sad thing, man. I mean, that's why I like to say white and black folk, just to wake both you guys up, man. Pay attention to us too, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We have all the same issues you have.
I see you, Louis. I see you.
Thank you. Because we have light shade and dark shade issues too, by the way. Latinos have the same kind of discrimination between the lighter skin of us to the darker skin of us. We have gender issues too. Yeah. We have gay people too. We have trans people too. We are regular people too. But at the same time, understand that this issue is bigger than all of that. This issue of where to live is bigger than all that. That's why I think homelessness has always been one of the major issues. How is it that we have not resolved homelessness and hunger when those two trump every other issue out there?
Yeah.
Without a sense of security of home and food, who gives a crap about all your other things that you get upset and want to fight about? All that other shit is trivial. What, you have food? Oh, what? So I don't call you by your pronoun, but you're eating freaking steak?
Yeah, exactly.
You're fortunate.
First world problems.
These are first world problems, man. So I get upset that my guard gate might be broken one day. It's a first world problem. It's a freaking guard gate. I live behind a freaking gate, for Christ's sake. I can't complain about stupid bullshit when there's people out there that don't even have a freaking home.
Yeah.
Shame on me for ever thinking that my little problems need to be magnified and need to be talked about, and then I need the whole world to understand my problems. No, that's a gift, man. That's a charm. I just respect it and understand it. That's all, man.
Yeah, the two scenarios that I see that I could not fathom is some of these very, very poor like Hispanic countries where it's like just the government is corrupt, people like gang shootings everywhere. Like I couldn't imagine trying to raise a family in that area. And then the other one would be the ones in like the Middle East where they're
Right.
constantly getting bombs and missiles going off everywhere.
Right.
Like I couldn't imagine like living neither one of those scenarios. Like
Right.
how do you function through all that?
It's
So,
horrible, man. And by the way, for guns are illegal in Mexico. You can only have hunting guns, and when I mean hunting guns, it's a very short scope,
they,
and you can only, guns are illegal in Mexico, and yet there were 3,000 murders in Juarez a year back when the whole Sinaloa cartel and the Juarez cartel were fighting back in the day.
right?
Back when Chapo was out. So it doesn't prevent hate from being hate.
No. All right, shifting gears a little bit.
All right.
I'm just going no particular order, man. I'm just hitting the list that we made.
Yeah.
The Don Lemon and the Tucker Carlson
Yeah.
situation.
Talking about trades, right? Talk about trades. We'll fire one, you fire one.
Yeah, that whole thing doesn't make sense to me. Well, Don Lemon being fired makes complete sense to me.
Right.
Only because Don Lemon made the mistake of not being on brand too many times.
What a jerk, man.
Like I remember the comment he made about the whole women in their prime thing.
Women, man.
The second he made that comment, I was like, ooh, that was not on brand, bro. That's not going to end well for you. And then the one that was over the straw, like you were talking earlier, I was looking it up because I'm not going to even try to pronounce his name. He had the presidential candidate, Vivek, whatever his last name is, starts with an R. I'm not going to butcher it, but
right.
he was on the show and they were having a debate about like history and the idea of race and stuff came into it. And the presidential candidate made a very good point. I mean, it was a very good, a logical, factual point. And Don just got really hyped up and was like emotional about like these talking points that are not really usually factual. Let's just be honest here. A lot of these talking points are very emotional. They feel good to say, but they don't hold water when you start to really kind of dive into it. And so Don was coming from emotional perspective, putting out the talking point and kind of getting aggressive a little bit. And the other guy held his own, the presidential candidate, Vivek. He did his thing, held his own, made a good point. And then they ended the segment. And like 2 days later, Don's fired. So I can understand Don Lemon being fired because he wasn't on brand. I personally can't stand him. Whenever I hear him speak, I get irritated. I don't like him at all, like not even a little bit. But I think a lot of people did because I think he spoke to the lunacy of a lot of people who liked him.
Right.
So, but I wasn't surprised because he wasn't on brand. The things that he was saying were just not on brand, and so I could see why they got rid of him.
You're
the
saying
Tucker
it nicely.
thing,
Wait, before you go off of Don, you're saying that nicely, not on brand. I mean, this guy's literally hateful.
Yeah, no, I can't.
I mean, it was hateful.
Yeah,
I mean, the things that he was saying was not just not on brand. It was just so anti what we want to do. We don't want to hate on people as a people. We're tired of it. Although some of us are engaging in it, we're tired of it.
Sure,
that I'm hating on people. And when you get on air and you have a female co-host that is in her 40s, and you say women are not in their prime, when he did that, you should have been fired instantly for that, dude. That is unacceptable. And but that comes from us as a culture, a television and media culture, allowing people to hate on other groups. And how many times has the Dharma guy said it's all okay until when you're on the winning team, right? How many times has the Dharma guy told us that it's all okay when you're on the winning team? Well, guess what? You weren't on the winning team on that one. You may think you're a female, you may think you're a woman, and that or that you're not a man, and women are only going to attack the man. No, you got a little bit too mannish there, Don Lemon. You became a toxic male in your environment when you attacked women, and I am sick. I am sick of people that don't meet that mold of what we think the toxic male is, that feel like it's okay to attack women and do things anti-women and get away with it. So good for.
Well, when I said on brand, because to me personally, the reason why I don't watch CNN like I used to was that was on brand. Like a lot of their wokeism and everything else is very on brand for them. So him saying some of the stuff that he has said, it's very much to me on brand with the idea, but he just took it, like you said, a little too far.
Right.
and that's why I think he got fired.
Yeah,
The
shame on them
Tuck-
for not firing him for the women
Yeah,
thing though.
he should have been fired a long time ago.
Yeah, no,
He should have drunk
you know,
on air, like trying to do a thing for New Year's, man. Like time and time again, dude. He's been reprimanded. I don't know how many times he's been
just an idiot.
suspended or on sabbatical for a while. Like he should have been let go a long time ago.
Just a smug idiot. Just
But
so
he
smug.
he played the black gay card too often.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
know that was his back. So
Yeah.
but the Tucker one. The Tucker one, I don't know, man. I wouldn't be surprised if it comes out later that he wasn't fired, that he left, because I don't know why they would. They were like, I think if he did get fired legitimately, it was because that Tucker and the guy who owns it, I can't remember his name at the moment, him and his wife had some conversations that the boss didn't like. And the boss didn't like him pushing it on his wife and making some comments, not in a sexual nature, but she
okay. I thought you were going, exclusive.
No, she agreed with him. Like there were some text messages where he had some religious beliefs and things of that nature that the wife bought into, that the husband just wasn't really down with and didn't like the fact that his wife and him were agreeing so much on that. So it was very shortly after that it came out that he was fired or left.
You think that's what it was?
If that's what I can see that, right? Like if I own the company and you're buddying up with my wife, talking about some stuff that I don't agree with and I don't like, I can see how that would be like, you know what, maybe you don't need to be here anymore. However, he was their cash cow, dude. Like the number one rated show in all of prime time, all AWL, all like the dude was the top. I never personally watched the show, but apparently a lot of people do. And so for them to get rid of their cat, even though they've done that before, right? With O'Reilly, with the other guy, I can't remember his name at the moment. Oh gosh, starts with a G, I think it is. They've been known to get rid of like a big name personality that's pulled in money, and they replace them pretty quickly usually. But I've never heard him like he said some things that I felt were a little off. Like, whoa, that was weird. But it's not so far removed from like some of the other stuff that some of the other people have said. So if it was a firing, it didn't make as much sense to me. Like, I don't know why they did that.
Well, Trinity. What, the same week they fired him, they just paid $800,000.
Yeah, but that wasn't him.
I mean, $800 million. I'm sorry.
Yeah, $800 million, but it wasn't him. Like,
oh no, he was one of them, and he was.
Well, he was in the text messages just saying
not just that. He was going to have to go testify in. No, look, this was a negotiation. I fully believe it was a deal.
I can see that.
Part of coming down from whatever amount of billions they wanted, they settled on $800 million and get rid of Tucker. Let's.
I can see that.
You got it. It's almost like, back in the day when, like if two go back to war, right? If you're going to police yourself, then you take care of them. You kill them, we're good.
Right.
Either you kill them or we kill them. But
right.
If you want to save face, you got to kill them. And Fox had to save face. Look, what Fox did was on brand. Fox doesn't care if you're number one. If you're affecting their money, they know you're making the money, but they fully believe what's making the money is not the individuals. What they feel is making the money is the political rhetoric and the way
they can replace them.
The way they brand it. Because O'Reilly was number one.
Yeah.
And they got rid of him. And that was
the other guy, I can't remember his name.
But he was costing them way too much money for women. Every woman that came out, they had to pay money, had to keep paying money.
Yeah.
You become very, problematic in the pay. Not theory, not in vision, but in pay. Just like, any business, if you start costing us money.
Sure.
So I don't think we've heard the end of Tucker, because I don't think he's going to do what O'Reilly did. O'Reilly, was in a different stage of his career.
Sure.
Different age.
The reason why he left was different too. I mean, he had, the Me Too movement. That was
he did something wrong. He knows. Yeah. So he had to be quiet.
Yeah.
Tucker doesn't have to be quiet.
No, he's not. He already released a video. Like he's coming back.
Tucker's young. Tucker's very, very expressive. He knows how to express his view, whether we like it or not. He's going to debate it. Very sarcastic, little smug dude. He's very smug too, just like Don Lemon. Except the difference between him and Don Lemon, he's smug in a very tactical way. He's going to precisely attack.
Yeah.
That story's gonna continue.
For me, the difference between the two of them is Don Lemon's smugness makes me want to punch him. Tucker's smugness makes me want to just be like, whatever, dude, just like shut up. That's the difference. One makes me want to just tell it, dismiss,
You're
and
right
shut
about
up. The other
that.
one makes me want to punch him in his face.
Yeah, you're right about that. Yeah, you're right.
Because Tucker, to
Completely.
me, some of the stuff he says is just ridiculous, but it's so like whatever, dude. But
Yeah.
Don, there's been many times where like, dude, somebody needs to hit that guy.
I think I watched both of those people because both those to me were almost like you have to watch them because they're saying certain points that you gotta hear the
Right.
way they're saying it because they had a following, right?
Sure.
I almost, God, man, I struggle with Tucker in his views of the border or immigration or immigrants themselves. I struggled
Sure.
with that. But with other things, he seems to be dead on. And again, it all comes down to what issues mean more to you, right?
Yeah.
What I've always known, and I always say, even on this show, is I am biased when it comes to an issue that's related to my culture and my people. Even though I'm American first, I'm a Mexican also, a Latino also. You know what I mean? A Puerto Rican also. Let me not discount that because then my Puerto Rican family is going to go, well, you always say you're Mexican. It's culturally, I'm more Mexican than Puerto Rican. You all know that.
But you don't look Mexican.
Yeah, but I look like the Mexican side of my family. If I don't look Mexican to you people, it's because you're racist. Because that's exactly the family I
Where's
look
your sombrero? Where's your, where's all that stuff?
You see that Steelers one that I posted the other day. Yeah, I should have put that's me. I should have tagged that as me, and people think like, is that really Louis in that sombrero? I got called Antonio Banderas this week and Robin Williams this week. That's two very different kinds of people.
Okay, that's Robin Williams. Really, that's odd.
I think more for how I was talking and joking around.
Oh, okay.
My sense of humor, and then Antonio Banderas. I have no idea other than this dude I was sitting next to at the airport. Yeah, I said we all look alike, and then I think I made him feel bad. I just said I did it as a joke, but I don't think he took it that way.
Sure.
I think he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry."
So I guess my question is, I think it's easier for Don Lemon to just crawl under a rock and disappear than it is for Tucker.
Disappear. He ain't gonna disappear.
I think it's easier though. If I had to pick one of the two that's going to disappear, I would say Don is more likely to disappear. Whereas I don't think Tucker's going anywhere. He's already come out with a video. Like I think he's just waiting for a payday. I think somebody's going to offer him an absurd amount of money to come and be a show somewhere.
Don's going to get an absurd amount of money.
You think so?
Yes.
I don't know.
100%. 100%.
Because once again, Tucker didn't do anything wrong. He just was who he was. Don did some wrong stuff. I mean, he tried.
Not to some people. Yeah. No. The women thing doesn't upset anybody. That's where you're wrong. It upsets us, and it upsets women, right? But no, the people that are going to pay him a lot of money don't care about women. Right. Mind you, whoever pays Don, this is like that consigliere talking. Remember in The Godfather when he goes, "Whoever brings you the meeting, Michael, that's the traitor, right? Whoever brings the meeting to you." Well, this is so remember what I'm telling you. Whoever pays Don Lemon, they do not give a damn about women.
Sure. He might go to the NFL. So, all right, next topic.
Which team?
Yeah, the Browns.
The Browns.
All right, next topic: mass shootings. So you and I struggled with how to handle this segment because there's been a pretty decent amount of mass shootings that are lately been happening.
Right.
And I think that we were originally trying to talk about specific ones and what happened and all the things. And then not one of us could remember all the details from it. And that's what I was like, man, maybe that's the topic, right? Like maybe that's the thing is just, are we kind of immune to them now? Or are we kind of are we desensitized a little bit to them? And what is a mass shooting, right? Like, how do they define that? Like, it's just, yeah, they used to take, I think now it's, whenever there was a shooting in general, it was like, oh my gosh. And then it was like, that wasn't good enough. Then it had to be like gang shootings. It had to be like, terrible stuff. And then it had to be like mass shootings. And now even that mass shooting isn't good enough. Now it has to be a mass shooting with like little kids dying, right? Like it can't just be a mass shooting in a subway where a bunch of grown adults. No. It's got to be kids. Because like when Sandy Hook happened, that was the first time that like little kids were shot. That was like, whoa. Like I remember that moment that happened. And so the fact that we became desensitized after that.
Wasn't Columbine first?
Columbine was the first one, but they weren't little kids; they were high schoolers. Sandy Hook was the first one where like
they weren't young enough to
exactly
get that freaked out about. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it got progressively worse,
Right.
and to me, Sandy Hook was like that was it. That was the bar of like the lowest that it could get.
Right.
And because they were like 8-year-old, like what? I can't even wrap my head around going and killing a bunch of little tiny kids like that. And then Uvalde happened in Texas not too long ago, and they were also little kids. But it's like now it's like nobody cares unless it's like race related or like little kids die. And it's just like, have we really gotten there, man?
I don't know about nobody cares. I just think that here's what I think it is.
Don't take it literal, man. Don't take it literal.
No,
I'm sure every parent cares. I'm sure every I'm
not trying to go there with you.
I'm just saying the masses is just it's not out there as much as it was.
No, I think it is, but I think that there's too many at once. so like while we're still like, because I was still dealing with the one where the guy was out there shooting his weapon, and then the guy says, "Hey man, my baby's crying. Can you stop shooting your weapon in the house? It's late at night." And then the guy ends up going in there and shooting a bunch of them.
I didn't hear that at
including
all.
Kids. You didn't even hear that?
No.
Yeah, and apparently he was a Honduran. Well, I don't know if he was a Mexican or Honduran, but I didn't read the story after that. I only heard it the first night, and then every time it came on, I kind of was like, too much information. It's sad information. Right. I think they were both, Latino. It was a Latino guy and another Latino guy, maybe from different countries. I think the guy that ended up doing the shooting was Mexican, but the family he was killing was Honduran.
Does that matter though?
Or Guatemalan or something like that? Huh?
Does that matter though?
No, it matters because they said it. That's the only. I'm bringing it up to try to see if I could trigger your memory, because that's how they kept publicizing it.
Right.
They didn't publicize it as just this dude was shooting his weapon and then came in and shot a family. They publicized it with all the other.
I remember the three that happened like back to back to back that I thought were interesting. I don't know if you could call them mass or not, but stupid stuff like a car full of girls pulled up, like turned the wrong way down a street and pulled up into this guy's like long driveway because they were trying to go to like a party or something. They picked the wrong house, and the guy came out of his house and like, oh, we're in the wrong. They were trying to back up, and he shot and killed one. Like it was like a 16-year-old girl or something.
See, I didn't even see that.
There was another one where there was like a family playing basketball. The ball rolled into the yard, so the guy shot him. There's like three of them. There's another one I'm forgetting at the moment. Of like,
yeah, but those aren't mass though. Those aren't mass.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Well, one of them they killed like two daughters and the father or something. Like, I don't know. My point is I do feel like we're starting to get desensitized, man. Like you said, they happen all the time. So it's just like, yeah, another one happened. Right. Like,
yeah,
I don't find myself as blown away or as shocked or as appalled as I have been previously, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I don't think that, like, the one I'm talking about, the one that made it come to my head with the Latinos, that shouldn't have been called a mass shooting. That was.
What is a mass shooting? How many people?
Well, that's the thing. I think that they're using mass anytime there's over 3. Like, like a few shooting. Like, like we have a couple, few, and then if it's more than a few, it's mass. I get.
Sure.
Mass might be a new adjective for more than 3, or 3 or more. I don't know, but let's stop doing that, because what we're accidentally doing is we're not able to really look at it for what it is, and they all have their differences. They're not alike. They're not similar. They're shootings, yes. They're hate, yes. But they're not the same as like Sandy Hook. They're not the same as Columbine. These are different issues that require a different way to review it and to hopefully correct it if possible. But instead it becomes a gun issue, and I think that's why we call them mass shootings. I really
or a race issue,
right? I think they call them mass shootings. Well, they can't call a lot of these race issues anymore, because ever since it was that gender issue, the one that went into that school,
the
Tennessee
girl who went.
It made everybody back. Yeah. It made everybody back up on gender and race for a moment.
Yeah.
So it was like,
the narrative.
Yeah, it wouldn't fit in that narrative. And this other one was Latino and Latino, so it couldn't be. But here's my question. That brings up the point of hate crime. Isn't every killing a hate crime? I mean, isn't that how we do crime in the first? Isn't if I kill somebody, am I really doing it out of love? Or is it that I hate you at the moment? Even if
it's survival too, right?
But it's, I don't think any of these killings are really survival. These killings are hateful. They're hateful, or entitlement. right?
Right.
You know, I'm entitled to I don't value your life. Let's call it that. Let's call it what it is. It's really, I don't value your life. Your life is meaningless to me. And that's the sadness. That's the true sadness of where we're at. So
Yeah, I
we
don't
don't have
know.
a gun
I'm going to
issue.
push
We
back
don't have.
a little bit,
All
though.
right, go for it.
But I'm not. We don't know, right? That's part of the problem with killing them. And that's part of the problem with them killing themselves is we don't really know. We're hypothesizing of what's happening. But so many of them die right afterwards, either by their own hand or by the police. We haven't had a chance to really interview a whole bunch of them, so we don't really truly know, do we? I mean,
Well, I know that they don't value life. Yeah,
well,
I'm 100%
or maybe
certain
they did it because it is
of
valuable and
that.
they wanted to make a statement.
But you
You
still
know,
don't
let
value
me
the life
destroy
that the
something
person has.
valuable. Well,
You
let me
still
destroy
no.
something valuable to make a point.
Yeah, I don't even see how that could even connect. I don't see how that can connect. It's you. I hear what you're saying,
Sure.
and I think you're going towards the motive. I'm not talking about the motive. I'm talking about you have to not have a value on life to commit the act.
Sure.
Now, the motive, I don't know what the motive is, and I think you're right. If we're going to stop letting people read manifestos because we're worried about it not fitting a narrative, then we're never going to know. I mean, we're gonna skew everything. Remember, I mean, look, if it's a certain person involved in the shooting, then we all respond really quickly, like that. What happened? The guy that choked out the guy in the subway or whatever.
Yeah.
Remember the military? He's a
That was
24-year-old
just 2 days
military
ago, I
guy.
think. Yeah.
Choked this guy. Look, he was defending. Apparently, this is a story, right? He was
Yeah.
defending that this guy was getting jerky with some people. People could say, look, he might have been choking a person. There's no way. He wasn't trying to kill him. He was detaining him. He was holding him and choking him out. He wasn't trying to kill him. Trust me, this guy could have killed him a lot quicker. He wouldn't have had to sit there and lay down there for a while to kill him. He wasn't punching him. He wasn't abusing him. He was holding him. They were trying to detain him. We don't have guards on these subways everywhere. You don't have cops everywhere. So this regular citizen that just happens to have certain techniques didn't feel like standing around and allowing someone to abuse other people. Now the person died. And the reason some of you are so upset and you Crips jumped on it is because the dude's a black dude that died. Just admit it. And that's sad that you only care about when a young black life is lost. That's the only time you care. If it's lost by a non-black person, that's not even cool, man. We got to stop doing that because yes, his life should not have ended, and we wish he wouldn't have died. But he put himself in a situation that brought all of us involved. When you start interacting with the public in a volatile way, somebody's going to step up and defend. And now we're going to attack the guy that defended? Come on, man.
Well, it's ridiculous.
And you can't just get mad just because you can't just defend people of your skin color or of a certain skin color, because then you lose credibility. And we don't want to lose credibility. That's, because I didn't hear that those same groups weren't fighting for the poor Latino family that got shot by the neighbor. Where were you for that family? Where are you for that family? You don't care about those. And it was a little kid, a little baby lost his life in that one. And I didn't hear you same group say anything about that. So you don't give a shit about life other than if it fits your freaking narrative. And that pisses me off, man. That someone has to die to fit your stupid narrative for you to go out there and march and give a damn. I think that's where the problem really lies, man. If we could all just be honest about that shit. At least I'm honest that when it involves Latinos, my eyes perk up just a little bit more. I'm honest about that. I know I'm biased towards that,
Sure. I've never understood why though that matters so much to people. Like it'll be like a mass shooting, and it's so important that they put out it was a black person or it was a white person or is it like when I'm not going to go into what I found because that's a whole other debate. I actually sent it to you, but it was
email or text.
I think I sent you a screenshot of it.
Okay.
It was so hard. Like when some of this stuff was happening, and I heard some debates and some arguments that I don't want to take at face value, right? Like I don't want to emotionally it sounds great, but let me look into like the data and see if it backs that up. And so I was trying to find online the race of perpetrators with weaponry, right? And I found victims instantly. Like it's so easy to find the victims of the race of the victim of gun violence. It was almost impossible for me to find out the perpetrator of the gun violence. I did eventually find it, and I sent it to you what it was. Well, that's a discussion for another day. But the point is, like, it was so like it was even in the data we're biased, right? Even in the data, like the only thing we want to talk about is who died from it. But it's like who actually did it might not fit that same narrative. So let's stick with who died from it. But it's like, well, wait a minute, who did
Only
it?
if it's from
Actually,
someone else.
yeah, who did it actually kind of matters too. Actually, like it kind of does matter. If either one of them matter, then they both matter. Is what I'm saying.
That's the point.
Like if it matters what race they were that died, well, then it damn sure matters what race they were that did the pulling of the trigger. Like that matters as well. Or neither, because to me, the headline, like if somebody shoots my wife, right? Heaven forbid, I don't, hopefully not, but you think I give two shits the motivation or the race or what gun they use? I don't care about any of that. My wife is not here. That's what I care about. I'm not gonna. Oh, it was a white dude, so don't. We're good. Just slap him on the wrist and tell him not to do it again. No, throw the book at him. I don't give a shit what race he was. It doesn't matter to me at that point. What matters is you used a gun to hurt somebody for no reason. I don't care what race you were. I don't care how much money you had in the bank. I don't care what your religion was. I don't care what your motivation was. I don't care if you had a manifesto or if you just wanted her necklace.
Right.
You're an asshole and you need to be brought to justice, right?
Right.
Like what? It boggles my mind that we spend so much time like over, like we politicize everything, and it drives me nuts. And I don't think I'm the only one. I think a lot of us are just collectively really tired of politicizing every single thing.
And if violence and murder matters when it's victim of one culture or ideology and perpetrator of one
Sure.
ideology or culture, then it matters when they are of the same culture and ideology. Because if what we're saying is that murder and hate matters, it's still murder and hate, and it still requires a resolve. And I think that's where my problem comes into play with all this. And I think that and that's why we're getting desensitized. We're only the ones that get all the ones that get the biggest publicity. It's when it's of opposite sides.
Yeah, of course. Well, we did the same thing.
Not opposite sides. It's more of like, if it's a white dude on somebody.
Well,
like,
we did
it's
the
got
same
to
thing
fit that
9/11.
narrative to get all the play.
We did the same thing with 9/11, right? Prior to 9/11, so my mother was involved in law enforcement. I watched, cop shows and stuff. I don't remember ever hearing about the religion of the people that were caught.
Right.
My mom worked in the jail system. I'd say a good 90% of them are Christians, right? Like they believe in God, and as we believe, as we know it. But after 9/11 happened, every arrest, it was important to let us know when it was a Muslim man. It was always important to say, well, Muslim man caught robbing a store yesterday. And then people are like, oh my gosh, Muslims are like, they're bad. And it's like, well, hold up. First of all, the fact that he's Muslim, what does that have to do with that he robbed a store? Like, I don't understand.
Right.
Like he robbed a store. That's the store. That's the point there, not what religion he is when he's not robbing stores. Right. Because we don't care what he's doing when he's not robbing a store. Right. The reason why I know who he is because he robbed a store. That's that's the story. But I was like, well, wait a minute, no. Like, and so the idea was that, the narrative there was, Middle Eastern bad, right? Which, okay, there was a bombing the night. I can understand to an extent why they were driving that, right? But it's like, however, if you were to go right now and interview everybody in jails, how many of them come from a Christian home? Like 90% of them. We're a majority Christian nation. If there is a religion being practiced, the majority of them are Christians in this country. So it would stand to say that the majority of people are getting arrested are probably Christians. But they don't say, I have never heard, ever, in all my life, ever heard, well, Christian man robbed a store today, or Christian man killed. Never heard that, even though I know they're doing it. So it's like, so the same thing with the black and white stuff, right? Like,
you're wrong.
If the radicals, yes, like Timothy McVeigh was a radicalist, whatever, like but even then it's I'm talking about common everyday crimes. They will tell you.
Well, not common day crime, not common day crime, but if it was at an abortion clinic or something like that, they always told you it was religious. Or if it was a serial killer, they always told you he came from a religious family or a strong Christian family no.
We haven't had serial killers since like the 70s, so I don't remember any of those.
Okay.
I wasn't around for the ones in the 70s, like Summer Sam.
But
and all
they
them,
tried to use that a lot back in the day. They
Sure.
did.
I'm just saying nowadays, I just don't hear like the point I'm making this is
They still do it for abortion clinics or something like that.
They're doing it right in front of us. Is my point. My problem is the media. That's my problem. My problem, everything kind of boils back down to the media. My problem isn't black people, white people, Spanish people.
Right.
My problem is the media is just driving us to a certain thing, and we're all just watching it happen. It's like, stop.
Yeah, they drive us to hate for real.
Yes, man.
They really, and it's not just. It's the problem is it's driven for this person is always going to be a victim, and this person is always going to be the hate one. And it starts from, I mean, God, man, when we were little kids and you're watching the Flintstones, every time they had a rich person on the Flintstones, he looked a certain way and was a jerk a certain way.
Little top hat and everything.
Right.
They got for some reason they all had,
look, every cartoon we ever watched, the rich person was bad. Even McScrooge was not as good as Daffy, right?
Yeah, of course.
So we've always created this division, and when we have a sense of humor and can accept that for being humorous, it's okay. But when it turns into a reason for me to hurt you or to attack you, or I say the reason I was hurt was because of, then all of a sudden it gets deeper. It cuts deeper. Sure. And when it cuts deeper, it's not funny anymore. And it becomes something that we raise generations and generations of feeling like a victim and feeling justified in their violence. Now, well, I'm just going to go get mine. By any means necessary. If I got to get something, I'm just going to get it then. Because that's what you did. That's what you do. So if you do it, then I'm going to do it. I'm going to play by your rules then. I'm going to play by your game then. You hurt my people, I'm going to hurt your people. And then that becomes a different narrative that's very dangerous. And we cannot allow that. We have to educate our children with a little bit more empathy towards others. I think that's what made the Martin Luther King Jr.'s as special as they are. I think that's what allows me to still feel the way I do about Martin Luther King Jr. because he did it in a way that I could never do. I could never be as understanding and as I don't know, like virtuistic, I guess. Is that the right word? To have that kind of virtue inside you. See, Gandhi was a little bit too much. Like Gandhi was, I wouldn't even want to be a Gandhi. You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna let the dude slap me and then just sit there and take it. Like that's a little bit much, right? but to me, Martin Luther King Jr. did it with a swagger, but still said, "It's all right. We'll get there." It's just an overriding confidence in a thing, and I really wish we had one of those right now, for all of us. I think we had I wish we had a Martin Luther King Jr. for all of us right now. I think that's what we really need, and we don't have it.
We could have.
Yeah, we could have.
I think Obama could have been that.
Oh, definitely Obama could have been that.
I think he could have been that one.
Definitely Obama could have been that. He had that opportunity. It still does, really. He just chooses not to.
Yeah.
But still could. I mean, I think he's one of those figures in our life where we all felt like, dude, you ended it too soon. We put you up on this pedestal for a reason. We wanted you to keep taking us there. You think 8 years does it? 8 years doesn't do it. Yeah. And now it becomes the same political mumbo jumbo that everybody else is. So no, but that's the kind of figure we need. And I don't think the figure needs to be a black person. I just think it needs to be a person.
Sure.
I think it needs to be a person that is speaking rational. We need an adult in the room.
Yeah.
There's just no adults in the room. And so we have everybody upset. We have everybody angry, and we have the media using words like this, mass shootings, and we can go on from this word, mass shootings, when just it's 3 or 4 or more. Like, no, it's not a mass shooting. It's a shooting. It's a hate. Another example of hate that we're not going to understand, that we're not going to get. And we are getting desensitized to hearing it on the news. So now, unless it fits the certain things that upset us, like there's a reason probably that the one that sticks in my head is the Latino family that got killed, right? And then the one that sticks in your head is a different story, right? There's probably a reason to that.
The little kids is the one that sticks in my head. Just because I've been.
But it was a little kid in my story. Well, it was a little kid.
My thing is, I've been angry before in my life, like really angry, homicidal angry. Like I've been that kind of where I'm like, yeah, I could probably take a life right now. I have never been so angry that I can go into a room full of a bunch of little kids and take them all out.
Oh, you're talking about Sandy Hook, going all the way back to that.
Yeah, or
yeah.
Uvalde, like
Or
those are the
Uvalde,
ones that
right.
stick out in my mind because it's like, dude, really? You know what I mean? Like,
Right. Well, those are the
really?
only ones that classify to me as mass shooting.
Right. Sure.
Those are the kind of things that classify as mass shootings.
Yeah,
I don't
those
see
are the
what the
ones that stick
Latino
out to
did.
me.
The guy that did it, to the family, that was just a neighbor thing gone wrong. And there's a lot of videos online that we all watch for fun when it's neighbors fighting, and there's even shows about neighbors fighting. But then it goes to that level. It's like, whoa, all right, that's a little bit
too far.
Yeah.
No, I agree. All right, so next topic. We only got a couple more left, so
all right, good.
Let's get this one out of the way.
All right,
I'm gonna let you talk about this one. You care more about this than I do, so.
Well, you don't even know what I care about it, man. I didn't tell you what I cared about it. Look, the royal family, the reason I think we need to talk about it is because something it's pretty big that just happened. I mean, we have a king. We haven't had a king in forever. Well, we have a king in the world. We have a king in the world, a new king in the world that kind of look, this country is a derivative of that country more than any other country, right? So
Sure.
It means a little bit more in this country than others and stuff like that. But the thing that's kind of cool is this. I've never cared about anything royal family ever. I mean, I know my mom's real into it. She loves it and stuff like that. I'm not that person. I don't know all their names. I don't know the succession line. I don't know a lot about it. I knew a lot about it when Diana was on there because apparently she was a big figure. I mean, that then, but I don't know enough about it to really speak on it. But here's what I do think now, Trinity. I do think that we should at least respect it. And here's why I say that. Because if the people that have poo-pooed on it, when I heard that the Elton John and all these other British artists refused to perform at the coronation, it hit me. It's like, wow. The same people, because he's Sir Elton John, by the way. He's knighted, so he does believe in the royalness. But it means that we started with this ideology crap, has even went into that. And we start tearing down things like this that still exist. That's like, wow, can't we just respect something for what it is instead of having it to be everything to us? Can't we just stop trying to rewrite history by our personal lens or by a 2023 lens? We have to respect history for what it was, whether we like it or not. It's ugly, it's good, it's bad, it's ugly, whatever it is. Just respect it, let it be what it is. But this is one of those lineage things that I hope we can just respect it for what it is, because it's not that to me. It's not a big deal to me, but it is something to them. There's a huge amount of people that it means a lot to them. And because it means a lot to them, I think we should allow it to be what it is and what it always has been, without having it to be fit in that narrative of gender issues, race issues, Hollywood issues, things like that. And I think that's why all those artists that we know, they've been knighted. They're not giving up their knighthood. Why aren't they there? Why weren't they there? Why weren't they celebrating it? And it's just sad because to me, it reminds me of just like bringing down monuments and tearing down monuments and kind of destroying the past and trying to rewrite the past and saying, oh, it has to be rewritten because it was rewritten wrong. I mean, it was written wrong. Well, you writing it doesn't make it right. It just makes it your way. So they wrote it one way, you're writing it another way, and the truth is in the middle somewhere. So let's just let it be what it is. Let it play out. You want to write a new path forward, then you write a new path forward. You by all means, go for it. But we should still respect and honor what has been. And it's kind of cool to get at least just like a glimpse of what used to be and how things have gotten to where they are. And that's it. I spent a total, 5-10 minutes watching it. And that was it. It's not something that's going to control my day, but neither is the Kentucky Derby. And that's going on today. That doesn't, take away my day, but I like just a little glimpse of, oh man, like the hoopla and the people that can't afford and be there and enjoy it. Yeah, man, do it. Enjoy your polo tournaments and your Kentucky Derbies and all that. I respect it. It doesn't have to. I don't have to be invited. I don't have to be able to afford it to be able to at least appreciate, honor, and respect those that are. Let them have what they do, and that's all. That's all I want to say about it. Other than that, hey, long live the king. Enjoy it.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Next topic. I don't really. I care as much about the royal family as I do as the bug that just ran into my wall. Like I don't really care. They mean
you should
less than zero to me.
You should get rid of the bug.
I will. Next one is now. This one's interesting to me, right? You said that you could see a scenario where both Biden and Trump can do some jail time, right?
Yeah, I really can. It's so
Yeah.
weird that actually more realistic now than ever. I can actually see a time where we could have two ex-presidents in prison.
Yeah, I
That's
can
the
see
kind
that.
of slippery slope we're going down. We have now gone down a path where they are going to find something to at least feel like they can put President Trump in prison. They will
They
continue to.
felt that for years.
They're not going to stop though.
Yeah,
They're not,
it's a
because he's not
feeling.
going to stop. Because he's not going to stop. They would have stopped if he would have just shut up and went away. But that dude ain't going to shut up and go away. That dude's not going to shut up until he's dead, right? So he's going to keep saying stuff, and because he's going to keep saying stuff, they're going to keep on looking and looking and looking. And I can definitely see a time where he goes to prison for something, and guess what? If he goes to prison for something, I guarantee you Biden can go to prison for something, because we do hear a lot of rumblings of real corruption that is probably happening. And if corruption can be found, that could be prison time. So wouldn't that just be weird to have two ex-presidents in prison? I think we should make them cellies.
That would be. I would watch that reality show.
That would be awesome.
Um.
Who would get the top bunk? Who would get the low bunk?
Oh, I don't know, man.
Who would take whose milk?
Yeah, I don't know.
Who'd get the fruit cup? Who gets the fruit cup in that?
Well, the funny part is I just see a lot of arguing going on. I don't see any physical violence happening. I just see them both grumpy or trying to get the last word in and stuff.
That'd be a very clumsy fight.
Exactly. And Biden would probably forget where he's at half the time. Gosh, man, I never really thought about this until you said. So as far as the Trump thing is concerned,
Oh my God, look at that right there.
Marissa said, can we just talk about his deposition for a second when he said he wouldn't sleep with the lady questioning him either? That was top juniors.
That is such a Trump response right there. You didn't even have to tell me who said it, and I knew it was Trump.
Yeah. I don't know. So the thing with Trump, let me start with him. I just think he is who he is, right? Like, is anybody surprised?
Yeah, but if he's a rapist, like if they're trying to make him a rapist now or something,
yeah, I don't know
that's
if he's
different.
a rapist, but I haven't heard anything that detrimental.
That's what they're saying.
I heard that. I haven't heard that one. Apparently, I'm out of the loop because the last
time
you're
out of the loop. That's what he's up for now.
Rape, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Then no, if he's an actual rapist, then yeah, I mean, you deserve to be arrested and throw away the key. But up to the rape accusation, all the other things that I heard against him, I think we're either complete BS or we already know who he is, or all the politicians are probably guilty of that. Those are the categories. I don't think that the insurrection, I think that is way blown out of proportion. I don't think he incited anybody to do anything. I think he was just who he was, and people were pissed off, and they took it out. Like, so in the hiding money, or what rich person doesn't? You know, what politician doesn't try to keep? What human being on earth that pays taxes doesn't try to keep all their money? We all do it. We all lie on our taxes about what we did here. We all buy.
I never lie on my taxes, Trini. I never lie on my taxes.
Yeah, me either. You know, so the Trump thing, I agree with you that they're going to keep going because I still can't quite understand the Trump derangement syndrome. For whatever reason, that dude, he's actual crimes against humanity. We don't have any proof that he's done anything yet. But he's like hated on the same level as Hitler, who killed millions of Jews. Like, I can't wrap my head around the hatred that this dude gets. I don't understand.
It's weird.
I can understand not liking somebody. There's plenty of people I don't like.
Right.
But the level of intensity that they have towards him and what they put on his shoulders, they anointed him like godly. Like he doesn't have that kind of power, people. He's a regular person. Like, you're making him out to be like this all-knowing, all-seeing, all-powerful thing that did all these things. He didn't do any of that. So that's
they
weird.
made him into the Antichrist, bro. They have created him to be to some people he's like a saint, and to other people he's the Antichrist. It's like wow.
So I can understand them trying to push and push and push until they get something, even if it's on paper, right? Even if it's one of those things where deferred jail time, but you have a conviction, you know, because I think their main thing is they don't want him to run again. So they're going to do everything they can do to get it to where he can't run. If you have a certain conviction, you can't run. Biden is the interesting one to me because Biden, I don't know that Biden has done anything more so than any other politician. Maybe I'm jaded, but I don't think that you can be in politics for as long as he's been in politics and not have something that you've done that's a little guilty.
That.
I just don't believe it. Much in the same way, I don't think there's any family out there that has old money that didn't do some shady stuff to get there. I just think that's part of the course.
It's part of the deal.
But I think there's some truth to the Biden, the Hunter Biden stuff. I think that water is a little bit more murky than they want to admit.
Yeah.
Like every time I turn around, it seems like it's like the story that won't go away, and every time it comes back, it's got more flavor to it.
Right.
If it was a reality show, dude, it's like there's cliffhangers at the end of every episode.
It'd be a great one. It'd be a great one.
And so, do I think that there's some fire there because there's some smoke? Yeah. So.
Mhm.
Because of our inability collectively to let go of our trauma from Trump, I guess, and because I think there might actually be something there with Biden, yes, I can see a scenario where both of them end up doing some sort, if not jail time, having some sort of conviction. I can see that.
Yeah. I think, well, both of them have, and they will have for the rest of their lives, they'll both have security detail. So can't we just put them both on house arrest? And then we can do a reality show. They don't have to go to jail, but can't we just put them all both on, like, you have this half of Mar-a-Lago, you get the other half of Mar-a-Lago. You just make them be on ankle monitors.
Just arguing all day long.
Dude, that I'm telling you.
I would watch that. These two grumpy old men just
everybody
yelling
would.
at each other.
Everybody would. There's no way that you could have that 24/7 live feed. That's better than Big Brother.
I can see Trump egging him on, and
that's the real Big Brother.
And then I can see Biden like getting mad and so frustrated he forgets what he was going to say. And just, where's my pudding cup?
Just like or at least let Hunter and Junior, have a boxing match. Celebrity boxing match. Can we at least get that?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I mean, come on. There's just so much. Hollywood here.
Oh yeah, even their offspring, like you said, man, Hunter and Junior, they're both like they're not well, man. Like,
dude, well, I mean, Junior at least is, more legit, bro. I mean,
Junior's able to cover up his
whatever. We don't know what he's got. He's just smarter. He's just smarter. He's more successful. He actually does things. The other one is reckless, man. The other one,
dumpster fire.
They better call George. George Bush knows what it's like, because he had a son like that later turned president. So is Hunter our next president? What I mean? Because remember, little George Jr. became president, bro, and he was crazy. He was wild.
He ruined the Rangers.
He's kind of a dude that you could hang out with, but you're like, wait a minute, you're gonna be president? Wait a minute, time out, Georgie. That's how I feel Hunter's gonna be like. Hunter, I don't know, man. I just think, I'm ready for the next generation to come up and to be there, because we already got another Kennedy coming back. So the Trumps are coming back. I don't know which generation or how many generations later. Yeah. They're coming back, and I got a feeling these Bidens are coming back too, man. I mean, this is
that's our next one. So let's segue into that, right?
Okay.
We haven't gotten to our and more yet, but let's segue into that. Like, all right. So our 2024 election update or whatever, it's not huge, right? There's a few people who are throwing their names in, but I want to that's my question to the powers to be. Is this really the best we got, man? Like, we have 330 million people in this country, and it's like the same 3 or 4 families, right? Like the Bushes. How many Bushes do we need? How many Clinton? Like Hillary's run, Bill's run. We had 2 Georges as a president. We had a Jeb run in, and guys, is there nobody new? Is there no fresh faces? There's nobody rising to the top.
That Kennedy dude got 20% of the polling numbers. That's off a name alone.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
So weird.
That's incredible, dude. That dude could really if he's polling that kind of numbers now before he even talks.
Yeah.
What? Are you kidding me?
And what's weird is even if you mention you're ridiculed if you mention somebody who is not in that group, right? Like Andrew Yang was a laughingstock for a lot of people. Please, Marissa on Facebook says, "Please don't speak President Hunter into existence." But for instance, Andrew Yang, right? Andrew Yang, he was so ridiculed and so mocked for not being part of the IT club, right? So I never really took him serious. And then after the election was over, I would see him on the circuit a little bit, listening to him, The dude's not crazy.
No.
Right? Like, he's got some really good ideas.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, some of his ideas that everybody made fun of him, they're actually implementing in different parts of the country right now.
We're paying
and
people
they're
now.
successful. And they're working like as intended. So the dude wasn't that far off. But yet, because he wasn't part of the IT club, we all laughed him off and didn't take him seriously. And it's like, maybe that's our problem, right? It didn't work in high school, so why are we still doing it now? Right?
Yeah.
Like, it's a popularity contest. Well, maybe just because you're popular doesn't necessarily mean you'd run the country, right? Because I think back when I was in high school, of the popular kids, I don't think I wanted them running the country. Like, they're the ones who are like, they're not as successful nowadays as the quiet kid in the corner who was a nerd that really seemed to figure everything out, right? The Elon Musks of the world, to me, are better suited to running things than the dude that just, got around a lot, right? Like, I don't know. It's just weird that I want to see new names. And there's a new guy right now, the one that I mentioned earlier, Vivek. He was, I guess he's a rich dude out of Silicon Valley tech stuff. I didn't take him seriously either. I've seen him before. Like, I've seen him on different shows. Like, I watch Bill Maher at times and I've seen him on there. Never thought he would run for president. But I'm going to actually listen to him, right? I'm going to do my part. And my part is I'm not going to dismiss anybody because they're not one of the top three. I'm going to actually listen to people and hear what they have to say and not dismiss them so easily. Even though it feels like a throwaway vote to me, right? Like, if you vote for somebody who isn't going to be in the top two, it does feel like a throwaway vote. But I want to try to vote in a way I can be proud. Like, I don't want to be pigeonholed into two, either this one or this one, because it kind of defeats the whole purpose. And maybe if more people start doing that, we would actually achieve something different.
Right. I agree with that. There's just one. There's no way. There's just zero way. I say this today and I could change tomorrow, right? But I don't see that there's a way of me voting Kamala Harris as president.
Me either.
I just don't see that happening.
I wouldn't vote for Biden again, by the way. Like, I didn't vote for him in the first place.
Well,
but
that's why I
wouldn't vote
can't.
for him here.
But that's why I can't, because if he has her on his ticket,
right.
First of all, Biden, if you make it all the way through these 4 years alive, that I really did not think you could do it. I really didn't. This job seems to be the most stressful job on earth. Everybody who's gone in it, I don't care how young they've been, come out looking old. Yeah. Clinton and Obama came out looking old, and they went in there as young men.
Yeah.
There's no way I thought you would live through all these 4 years. And not that you've done it yet, but there's no way I thought you would live all these 4 years. That was my biggest fear about you being president, is that Kamala becoming president, because her qualification, you said it. You said her qualification was that she was a black female. That's what you told the world.
Yeah.
And to this point, guess what? You were right. You spoke the most truth on that day. You told the one truth of your entire presidency was that Kamala qualifies to me because she's a black female, and that is her only qualification moving forward. Because everybody, you all know it. None of you want Kamala Harris as president. I'm not saying who you don't want, or it's better than, because I know where your brain's going to go. It's, well, at least it's not. No. You don't want her as president, and that should be the only way you vote. Not for who you don't want, so who you do want. So please, somebody put up somebody that I want. Because if not, I'm going to end up voting for who I don't want, and I don't want to be that voter that I talk against.
Yeah.
Because I know why you guys voted for Biden. You didn't vote for Biden. You voted against Trump.
Yeah, they were anybody but Trumpers.
So I don't want to be the same. I don't want to repeat the same crap and be hypocritical and vote against Kamala Harris. But there's no way ain't no way. I just can't see that moving forward.
Couldn't vote for Biden or Kamala. I don't think Biden has been great for this country. I wasn't against him when he won. I was kind of neutral. But since he's been in, I think we've got long enough that I don't like where things have gone because he's been in. So I would not vote for him.
No.
And I definitely wouldn't vote for Kamala. Like, no way.
No.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I want to hear more. Like, I want to hear new people who haven't been around. And I'm okay if they're not 80, right? Like, I don't want like a 23-year-old in there, but I don't want to be ageist here. Well, I wouldn't mind having a little bit of young, fresh blood in there. Maybe late 30s, early 40s. I'd be interested in hearing what they have to say.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I'd be interested.
I'd be interested in hearing, but I just don't know if
I'd be interested.
This kind of job position, because here's why. Here's why. From history shows us that after presidencies, they kind of like go away. They don't really do much
Well, that's like the pinnacle, right? Like, what do you do after that?
Well, look, the one who did the most had a really crappy presidency, which was President Carter.
Habitat for Humanity.
Horrible presidency, but man, he did so much afterwards. That's like the only one that ever stayed as active as he did after, right? So I don't want to lose, if we have good young 30s and 40s politicians, I don't want to lose them to presidency.
Right.
No. Keep doing what you're doing as governors, as senators, as congressmen, and then you hit the 50s and 60s, then let's get you into presidency, right?
I mean, I see your point.
But I want if you have that youthful nature and you have that ability to like shake the system up, instead of being a president, I'd rather you be in the House and do some work there first and do some good work, because that's where the laws are changed. Go change some laws in there first, right? Presidents apparently don't change laws. What they do is just they veto and they do, what are those presidential, what do they call those?
Figurehead, man. That's all
but they create a thing that looks like a law, but then the next one comes in and gets rid of it.
Yeah. I can't think of the name at the moment.
Yeah, but it's not even a law. Like, so presidents don't even know how to make a law. Like, they're like, I'm a king. No, King Charles is a king. You're not a king. Executive order. There you go, Marissa.
Yeah,
thank you very much for that, Marissa, on Facebook Live.
Yeah, I
want to see new executive orders.
I want to see new blood. I don't want to see another.
That Kennedy dude looks strong, man. That Kennedy dude looks strong. It's a lot better than that other dude that's governor of California, man. Walking around, look, dude, that dude's way too pretty. He's way too pretty.
Gavin.
Yeah,
Gavin
he's just a stud, and we all know it. All right, Gavin, we know you look good, you sound good, you put together. But Gavin, that only works in Hollywood, bro.
Isn't he in the Kennedy family too?
I don't know what he is.
Yeah, I think he is.
That doesn't play well throughout the country. That just plays well in Hollywood. I know Kennedy did it. Supposedly Kennedy was a good-looking dude. People must have really been ugly back then for them to
Bobby Kennedy. Yeah, I don't know, man. People love the Kennedy. I'm not old enough to appreciate the Kennedys for what they were, but I know they love the Kennedys back in the day.
Like you will not believe.
Yeah. Well, one of them got away with murder. So,
Trinity, I grew up, that was like, ha, ha, ha.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, one of them was openly adulterous and nobody cared. Another one killed somebody. Nobody cared. I get it. I wasn't around for it, but I've heard the stories and I've seen the evidence.
Huge.
But I don't know, man. I'd like to see more, like, just new people.
See, and I don't mind the dynasty families doing it, man, because to me it's like the Hatfields and McCoys.
It's more the same, though, man.
Yeah, you know what though? Take it for what it is. It's drama. What it is. They don't create the rules in any way. They just don't create any. Who I worry more about is like, that dude that's with, she said Pelosi, Marissa said, who's that? Chuck Schumer. That's the dude guy. Oh my God, can that dude just walk away? That dude looks like the guy from The Simpsons to me. Like the old man in The Simpsons. Yes. Oh my God, bro, the old man. He looks like the old man from The Simpsons. So can we just get rid of him? I don't even want to look at him. Just the way he talks, the way he acts.
Well, that's the thing too.
The stupid little glasses hanging there. Oh my God, you talk about people you want to smack. Yes, I want to smack Don Lemon. I want to definitely smack Schumer, bro. That he just has such a hittable face.
I'm for term limits. I don't think some of these people need to be in there for 40, 50 years. Like I think new, fresh idea. Like, what other successful entity does that in business, in the private sector? They don't have people doing that. They're bringing in new, innovative type things, and that's why they're so much better.
If you're making money, we keep you. If you're losing money, the board votes you out.
Yeah,
that's the way it works.
And so, like, I don't know, man. I'd like to see some fresh ideas, right? I do believe let's get some of that private sector innovation into government. Like, let's really start to make some change, man. Like, this same old, just not benefiting anybody. Shoot, It's not even benefiting the top anymore, right? Like, it's not benefiting anybody. So, like, I don't know, man. I would definitely like to see some newness. And that right there is why,
right?
I get it and I understand, and I think that's why Trump was voted in. That's what I don't think a lot of people understand. They're so fixated on their hate for what they believe him to be, right? What they've made, because he's not what everybody thinks he is. First of all, you don't know what he is because you haven't met this guy. So all you're basing all your hatred off of the perspectives that you've been given by other people. But like, I get the why, because when it first happened, I was dumbfounded. I didn't know what the hell was going on. I woke up that morning like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And then I bought into the hype at first. that, oh my gosh, I didn't know there was that many racist people in the world. Like, I bought into it. I'm going to be honest, I did. But then I because I'm introspective, I was like, well, wait a minute now. Like, just logically speaking, I find it hard to believe that much of the country's racist. I just don't believe it. So I started talking to people. I started seeking out people who voted for him and trying to, like, all right, what was the appeal? What'd you do here? And they changed my mind. I started hearing him out and started realizing that he did somehow find a way of speaking for the common man.
Right.
A lot of people were pissed off at the status quo, and they didn't vote for Trump. They voted against the status quo.
Yes.
They voted against
the system,
the system, the turning out that, like, because let's be honest, guys, I don't care who you are listening to this, what side of the aisle you're on. If Hillary Clinton won, do you think anything would have really changed, or would have been 4 more years of basically what we already had? So that's my thing. And I voted for Hillary, and I'm ashamed to admit it. I voted only because she was a woman. I thought it'd be a good idea.
Same here.
But if I'm honest with you, though, do I think that had she won, do I think we would have had the anger and the vitriol that Trump did? No, of course not. But do I think anything would have changed or gotten better? No. I think it would have been another 4 years of what we basically had. She would have just maybe tweaked a couple things, but let's keep the party going. And, well, the party going, if it's good for you, I can wholly understand why you want to keep the party going. But if you're not in that group that you're winning right now, you're not feeling this current party. No. You're like, yo, I don't like that. Healthcare, like, if you're not rich right now, like, healthcare sucks, dude. It's hard to get medical care these days that you can afford. Unemployment sucks for certain people.
Or if you're not poor, and get it for free.
Yeah. So my point is,
if you're middle class, it always sucks.
The system is just really not working for a lot of America at the moment. And there isn't a whole lot of people speaking for them. And so I get it. That's why Trump won. Half these people didn't like Trump, and Trump wasn't a Republican. He was closer to Democrat, if anything, but he's a Trump. He's in the middle. He is who he is. But he was friends with the Clintons back in the day. He used to give him money. So he's not representative of what the Republican Party has been. He just figured it was easier to win on that side. So he was right. So people were voting not for him personally or even what he stood for. They were voting for, like, let's blow this up. Let's send something in that's just going to wreck the system because we're tired of where we're going. And so I get it, man. And the problem is those people are still around. 75 million people voted for him, everybody. They didn't disappear when he went away. Like, we're still out there as people upset about all this. And so that's why I want to see something new. Like, it's the current system is just not working for so many people. Let's try something else.
Right. Yeah, no. Look, man, I like what you said right there, Trinity. The middle class pays all the bills and gets nothing in return.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is, man.
Well, the middle class is disappearing right now. Let's be honest. Let's call it what it is, dude. It's not around like it was.
I think it's growing.
Oh,
I think the middle class is growing because
depends on what your definition of middle class is, I guess.
Well, I mean, because you can't get out of it, so it's growing, it's expanding. And in other words, dude, when you take these interest rates that keep going up, so you take all the middle class that have become homeowners and you just destroy their interest rates. You know what? Because the rich can pay all their bills, but they also pay other people's bills, right? And the middle class pays everybody's bills because whatever the rich can get away with not paying, middle class still paying because we don't have the accountants the same way. We don't have all the same little loopholes, right? So middle class pays all the bills, and then the poor doesn't need to pay any bills because they don't care about the credit and they don't care about any bills, and they get money back, anyway. So you got this middle class system that owns homes and the interest rates are going up. They work for somebody, and yet these labor issues are only causing a squeeze onto them. Anytime there's something that needs to be bought, everything goes up in price. But the pay is not going up and up and up. It's just not going to happen like that. You can't have pay, keep going up, and the prices of everything keep going up. It's just not realistic. It doesn't work that way. You talk about healthcare. If you're rich, you can afford healthcare. If you're poor, you get free healthcare. But in the middle class system, you got to pay for your damn healthcare, and it's expensive. And you can't do it. You just can't pay it, man. And so I think it's growing because more people are in it that just can't make it. And so they keep moving the line. Like if you hear how low you can make money and you're considered middle class, or how much you can make and you're still considered middle class, that's a huge population of people. That's a huge population of people. There's not more rich people, because they keep moving that goalpost. You know how much you'd have to make to be considered rich? You know how many hundreds of thousands of dollars a year you have to make to be considered rich? And then you know how little you can make and they still consider you middle class? I mean, it's a low.
Yeah, I'd have to look it up, but I would say 6 figures. You're not exactly middle class anymore. If you're a
Oh,
single
yes, you
income,
are. Oh, yes, you
I
are.
wouldn't define it that.
Well, you may not define it as that, but you might make 6 figures, but you're spending 6 figures. You're not keeping all 6 figures. You just you're still buying all the same stuff. It's just a different quality stuff, but you're still in that middle class range. You may think you're not, but you are. You're still 1 or 2 paychecks away.
So I just looked it up. Pew's commonly used definition of middle class sets the range of middle income salaries between 2/3 and double the median salary for a given area. That means you can earn 100,000 and be considered middle class in some locales, but not others.
Mm-hmm.
So middle class has more to do with your geography necessarily than your income.
Correct. Well, yeah, but that sounds like a very vanilla answer, because there is I travel this whole United States, and let me tell you something, man. You look at prices everywhere; it's pretty consistent. We're in a very expensive area. This used to be a cheap area, Florida. This is very expensive. This is like California range.
I'm looking at a study right now from 1971 to 2021. The lower income in 1971 was 25%. The lower income in 2021 was 29%. So I went up 4. The middle income in 1971 was 61%. Now it's 50%. And then the upper income went from 14 back in 1971 to 21. So, like, according to those numbers, the middle class is shrinking and the upper class is going up. Because you got to think about it too. We haven't had all these sports athletes that are millionaires, all these Bitcoin people that are millionaires. Like, a lot of them there's a lot more millionaires now than we've ever had.
Yeah, but man, dude, $1 million is not $1 million. I'm sorry, $1 million is not. It's not a lot of money, bro.
Okay.
You want to believe it's a lot of money, but it's not. It's not a lot of money, because everything you buy is that much more expensive. You're not now. If you would take that $1 million and live in the same neighborhood as what you did when you only had 100K, then good. You're doing fantastic, but you can't, because now they all know you have $1 million, so they're gonna come get your money.
You don't have to tell everybody you got $1 million.
Well, they'll know. They'll know really quick.
Okay, this is a 2020, so it's a couple years old, but it says here that it's what does it say? It's between 40.
Don't give me percentages. Give me
no 48,000 to 144, 48.5 to 145.5 is what they're calling.
What year was that? What year was that?
2020.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So between 48,500 to 145,500 annually.
That's a huge number. That's
for a household of 3.
Well, the third is not bringing in money.
Sure. But, if 2 people are working, making that much, yeah. I was talking about a single income earner, 100,000+. To me, you're not middle class anymore. You're upper middle class, maybe, if you want to define it as that.
Yes. Thank you, Trinity. You're just trying to put me in a different place, Trinity, and that's not.
But I'm just saying, there's a lot of people out there who are struggling to even get like a McDonald's meal for their kids.
You don't think I'm middle class, is what you're saying?
No, I would say you're probably upper middle. I don't think you've ever been lower class. I don't think you've ever been.
I didn't say lower. I didn't say lower. I'm middle class.
Yeah.
See, thank you, dog.
You grew up. Didn't you grow up in Mexico where your family was in government and everything else? Like, come on, man. Like, you had a great
show. Welcome to the Couch Live.
Exactly.
That's Monday's show now.
Yeah, you had a maid.
That was not in Mexico. That was in the United States.
Exactly my point. So, like, you're struggling is a little bit different. You're struggling is like somebody else's dream. There's people out there right now who are like, "Oh my gosh, I would love to have that life."
Look, my parents would say that it was not as easy as you think.
Sure.
Their perspective.
Everybody's got their cross to bear. I get that. I'm just saying, they're not all created equal either. But my point, though, is
you make him a dog man. You see, he's not happy with what you're saying, Trinity.
My point, though, is regardless of the cross that you're bearing, it's hard out there for people. And it's not getting any easier, and I think that's pissing people off, and there's a lot of emotion behind it, and I think that's why I like to see something different, because it's put it this way: it's obvious that it's not working, right? Like, is it working in the sense of, as a community, are we better than we were 500 years ago? Of course we are. Right. Technology has surpassed our wildest dreams. Right. So as an experiment, is it working? It depends on your definition. If you're comparing it to what it used to be, yes. If you're comparing to what we could have, or if you're comparing the amounts of people who are benefiting from it, then I would say no. It's not working in that instance. It's not working for so many people. Is it working for some? Absolutely. But when 1% controls so much of what's going around, by definition, that doesn't feel like it's working to me. So I think
which
that
percent is controlling it? The poor or the rich?
you, you're the 1%, man.
I think it's the 1% rich and the 1% poor, the ones controlling this whole thing.
Yeah. So my bottom line is, man, I think that there's new blood with some good ideas.
Yes,
But I think we
agree
should
with that.
actually listen to them. Like, I don't think we should shun them or
Right.
dispel them, because that's the thing. There was another lady, was it Haley? I think Nikki Haley. She's an example, right? Who came out, put her
Yeah.
name in the presidency.
Yeah, she sounded good.
She was immediately laughed
Yeah.
though by
Yeah.
almost everybody, because like
Right.
who? Like it was
Right.
like a throwaway. Like, oh yeah, of course,
Right.
yeah, I'll put my name in it too, right?
Right. Right.
Which she very well might end up not getting enough vote. Who knows?
We'll
But
see.
I don't think it's fair for us as a whole to not take everybody seriously.
Right.
Because we might stumble across somebody that's like, holy shit, they actually they got something.
I know who I want.
Elon.
Oh.
Can you
First
imagine
of all,
if Elon ran?
dude, I would vote for him.
I would vote for him.
I would vote for Elon Musk.
Yeah.
But no, because then he'll get old.
Yeah, he would get ruled.
And then he wouldn't be able to do everything he's doing. But who I really like, I like Trump's daughter.
Ivanka or the other one?
Wait, Ivanka is that his wife or ex-wife?
Or not Ivanka? Ivana. Oh God, I don't even remember her name. I know what you're talking about though. The blonde that he was hitting on, basically.
Oh, stop!
Oh, come on, bro.
He just
Come
said
on.
one comment. Bro.
He said
wasn't
quite
hitting
a
on
few
her.
comments over the years that were really
Stop.
bad.
That man, no. But no, yeah, I think she's really smart, real
He has
intelligent.
another daughter too. You know,
I really, well, I didn't know that. I don't know about his whole family, bro.
that's the joke. That's the joke, though. Is like he doesn't care about Eric and he doesn't care about his other daughter.
He cares about Eric. Eric's always there.
Yeah,
Eric's
Eric
always
is like
there.
the retarded cousin that's in the back.
You're not even allowed to say that word, Trinity. What do you mean? What's wrong with you?
What did they do? Cancel me? Take it.
Yeah. No,
Take
I'm
it
on
off.
this show with you. Hell no, don't cancel. Let's just cancel half of it. Like shrink his face.
Here we go.
Oh, here it is. Oh, Ivanka. Oh, it is Ivanka. No, where are you? Come back.
They canceled me.
I saw that.
Oh man.
I like Ivanka. I like her. So we'll see, man. Anyway,
Yeah,
I
mean,
used
I
to
don't
watch
know.
her on The Apprentice, and I just thought she always had really good answers on The Apprentice. Really good.
Seems very
comments on The
calculated to me.
Apprentice. You need to be calculated to be a president. You need to be, strong,
Are you
intelligent.
calculated for the greater good, or are you calculated for yourself?
Oh, don't point her out to be evil. She's not evil.
I didn't say she was evil.
Stop it. Stop it.
Calculated doesn't equal evil.
Well, the way you kind of said it, the way for good, you said for good.
Yeah, or for yourself. Like, are you calculated for the common good? Or are you calculated for yourself? So if you're calculated and you're trying to make decisions and your end goal is for the betterment of everybody, I think that's awesome. But if you're calculated and your end goal is I need to get the best out of this that I can, I'm not exactly interested in that if I'm part of the group.
I think the only person that I know out there that is always communicates more out of what he believes is the common good is my brother. That's the way he communicates.
That's why I like
biased
Elon,
in nature and everything, but he still speaks and thinks out of common.
That's why I like Elon too. Have you ever heard Elon talk?
Oh no,
Elon's
definitely
like,
common good. No.
He's
Elon,
about like the greater good.
That's a shoe-in for me though. But Elon shouldn't do it until he's in his 60s.
Yeah. Well, like you said, you hit the nail on the head, which is sad. He could do more for our country as a private businessman than he can as a president of the United States.
More for the world.
Yeah, for the world, because he's giving internet to the world. He's giving like how people hate that dude. I don't understand. But that's another topic for another show. But
all right, brother man. So I'm starving.
Yeah, I'm hungry and I got to use the restroom. So
all right. So you got any final things you want to say?
No, I just say, if you like what you see or if you like what you hear, make sure you subscribe. Check us out on Dope and Dharma at YouTube. Same thing with Facebook and Twitch. If you want to listen to us, you can do so on any of the podcasting platforms. I can't stress it enough. If you like what we have to say, like it, share it, subscribe, send it out. We're only as good as the people who listen to us.
That's right. And listen, thank you all very much for joining us on this Saturday afternoon. Hopefully you have a great weekend. I have no idea what horse to pick in the race in the Derby. I don't know. I'd say if there's any horses with any royalty kind of names on them, pick those. That seems to be the thing of the day, because if it's going to be a royal kind of weekend, then pick a royal horse. Maybe you'll make your royal money off it.
Hey, you never know.
Anyway, from all of us here on Dope and Dharma, and we the middle version of Dope and Dharma. Adios, amigos. Time for a taco. Goodbye.